Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, McCone.
With the launch of McCone Entertainment and McCone Competizone alongside McCone Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at McConeSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at McCone Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Hello, my name's Aaron Brown from the Garage Shop in Denver, North Carolina. We're here at the famous Bonneville Speedway in Wendover, Utah. One of the most harshest environments on the planet to race in, and that's why we need the best tools Snap-on has to offer. What we use here to pump up the oil in our race engines to prime them is this Snap-on screw gun. With its variable speed and high torque, this allows us to spin our oil pumps up to 1,500 RPMs, creating 70 pounds oil pressure, which helps us get everything settled in, nice and happy, and turn the hot oil through the engine. It's compact, lightweight, and able to fit in really tight spaces. Its 9-position clutch allows us to torque things, nuts, bolts, from 8-inch to 50-inch pounds. Small size and high performance helps us get into many places on a race car where normal tools can't. Under the dash and the engine compartment, we also use this to drill a lot of holes in very tight spots.
Welcome everybody. It is Monday night and you know what that means. It is time for oval action here on the Collegiate iRacing League. But first, it's the Ignition Zone pre-race show presented by the CIL. Excited to have all of you along tonight for what should be another thrilling night of Garage Shop College Cup Series action. Alongside me tonight is Brad Daniels. I'm Alex Gagnon saying welcome in and get ready for some 1.5 mile racing CIL style at Kansas Speedway. This action-packed 1.5 miler should be an absolute blast tonight. Brad, how you doing?
I'm great, Alex. I'm ready to see some great racing here at Kansas. I'm excited.
Kansas historically has been some of the best racing in all of the next-gen cars since it's been unveiled, and I think we're going to get a real treat tonight. But before we get too far into that, let's take a quick look at the actual schedule this season. You know, Kansas, the first mile and a half of the year. You can see on the schedule there tonight, obviously the 16th. Race 3 of the regular season kicks off a stretch of, not to say cookie cutter style tracks here, Brad, but a stretch of these mile and a halves are close to it.
Absolutely. And Alex, as you can see ahead, you got some Texas racing here where I think that's more of a driver's track in my opinion, followed up by Nashville and Road Atlanta, our first road course of the season. And then, as you can see, by that point, we're pretty much near the playoffs after Chicagoland, and New Atlanta is that cutoff race, which will be very exciting to see.
Yeah, it is a very quick, it's honestly a quick schedule, deceptively so. I mean, it feels like the season's really just getting going. Obviously, the first mile and a half, the first real classic style NASCAR track, you could say. And, you know, we're already a quarter of the way through the regular season. Time just flies here in the Garage Shop College Cup Series, and I think we'll be seeing that a bit tonight. You know, I mean, after next week, you're already halfway through the regular season. I mean, it just goes so fast, which makes every race count that much more. So if you did not have a good first or second race, you really need to have one here tonight. But, you know, we're coming from Auto Club. And the story coming out of that, Brad, I'm sure you'll agree, Oklahoma continues to find a way to win. Miranda won Talladega. Now his teammate John Hagan wins at Auto Club. Oklahoma really seems to be the front runner so far in the early couple races.
Absolutely, Alex. And they were really up front for the entire second half of that race at Auto Club. And really, the two Oklahoma cars were going to run away with it. Jake Cummings was there, but that late race caution really threw a lot of things out of whack. And it really ended up being a great green-white checkered at the end.
Yeah, I was honestly really surprised with how good of a race it was there at the wire. I thought it was going to be another mess, but we got a really nice stretch of green flag racing in there, better part of 50 or 60 laps right through the middle of that race. Green flag pit stops, the full pit strategy was on display. People trying to short pit, people trying to extend for a caution. I mean, honestly, it was really a nice welcome sight after the way Talladega was, where, I mean, it's Talladega. There's going to be wrecks. But hoping tonight a little bit more like Auto Club, where we get to see those extended green flag runs, and we get to see those drivers who can manage their stuff really work their way to the front. I think that'll be a ton of fun. Well, let's take a look here at the points as they run through the opening two races. The Oklahoma drivers of Mario Miranda, John Hagan, the only ones locked in to this point. However, there is a battle right at the top of the standings between Oklahoma's Mario Miranda and Clemson University's Drew Williams. Williams still looking for win number 1 on the season, but he is only 1 point out of first place after 2 races.
Yeah, this top 10 has a lot of great potential here. As you can see, Jared Kaler 14 points back from second place, and John Hagan, after last week's win, jumps up to 4th. And then you have some hard hitters with Edwin Onofre, Jake Cummings, Matthew Burton, and then rounding out top 10, Nick Stockner after that great race last week, Jordan Byers, and Andrew Stagey.
Yeah, it gets really interesting at the back end of the top 10 here. Stockner, Byers, Stagey, and then you look at this group just on the outside of the top 10. You know, guys like Ben Neller for Ball State, R. Muhammad Alif, Brandon Schulenberger, Daniel Nanny, a ton of really talented drivers, multiple Championship 4 drivers from a season ago, currently outside the top 10 right now, as Alif is 12th, Nanny's 14th. But they both put together really good races after a rough Talladega. And I'd imagine we'll see them continue to make their way up the point standings tonight if they put together another strong run.
And one thing to note, Alex, you saw a bunch of Ball State cars right there in the top 10 to 20 there. And coming back here past the top 20, some other hitters like Ricky Paz and Devin Defoe, Jason Wallet, after his disappointing Talladega race, is making his way up the standings here in 25th. Sky Shrek from the University of Oklahoma as well, hoping to keep along with the other Oklahoma teammates here and see if they can have a three-person win streak going for Oklahoma here.
That would be quite the sight, especially because Sky Shrek, the sponsor of tonight's race, we'll get into that just a minute. But this is where we start getting real deep into the standings. And if you're some of these drivers back here who've got a lot of talent, guys like Landon Veliky or Oscar Enriquez, Zach DeWale, I mean, multi-time race winners, Zach Lindler, Edward Sanchez, Ethan Decatur, all of these guys, this is the time where if you don't put together a good run tonight, you can basically forget about trying to have a run at the playoffs here. I mean, you really need to start getting it into gear now with only 6 races left in the regular season. But, we were talking briefly there about Oklahoma. We were talking briefly about Sky Shrek, the current lone Oklahoma driver not to hit victory lane yet. The 3 regulars between her, Mario Miranda, and John Hagan. But Sky Shrek, big thanks, is sponsoring tonight's race, the Press Subscribe 200, presented by the YouTube channel QR Almy. That will be talked about here in just a minute, as we will be talking with the driver of the 43. How about actually we try and ring him up right now? All right, Sky, this is Alex and Brad in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Hey, Scott, thanks for joining the show here. Thanks so much for sponsoring tonight's run at Kansas, the Press Subscribe 200. I just want to, get into the very start here. Talk to us a little bit about the channel and what people can find if they pop over to Cure Almy.
Yeah, I kind of just make videos about Japanese music. I've been doing this for like a year and a half now. It started off as something that just it was fun, and I kind of kept doing it. And yeah, I started sponsoring races because I thought, I run these, it'd be fun to sponsor them as well. So yeah, if you're interested in Japanese rock music, anything like that, you can subscribe to my channel, and it's very fun.
Absolutely. Great stuff, Sky. Thank you for sponsoring tonight's race. First things first about the race tonight, prepping for the race actually. So Oklahoma as a whole has had a pretty dominant start here to the season. Do you think there's anything that your team has been doing exceptionally well up to this point? Is there anything that you guys have been working on behind the scenes to try and maybe make this whole season one big Oklahoma dub?
I think we've had some really good teamwork. Like last week with Hagan and Miranda, we're both up front trying to get each other to the win. And at Daytona, we had kind of like a 3-car train around the outside line for a good 15 or 20 laps in that race. And Hagan pushed Miranda to the win in that race. So we've been working on teamwork, and I think it's really showing in the first 3 races, and that's a big part of why we have 2 wins so far.
Yeah, obviously that has really come across, and you are not the only driver to express that. We've had an opportunity to talk to John, to talk to Mario, and they've been saying the same thing. It sounds like all of y'all have been really buying into what the program's been putting together here. So I guess the question now is going to be, obviously, with the 27 and the 89 in victory lane, what's it going to take to get car 43 in the victory lane here for you?
I'm hoping I can get a good run tonight. I'm starting with an EOL, which is not ideal, but I'm thinking I can maybe play some pit strategy, save tires, jump up on a caution where everybody else decides to pit, and hopefully that can get me near the front. I'm usually best at these 1.5-mile tracks. I think my best finish in CIL ever was Kansas in last fall. I think I had a really good run, and I was top 5, top 10 for a lot of that. So I'm hoping I can kind of pull that together again and hopefully get a good result tonight.
Obviously, a good result would be, I'm sure, appreciated not only for you, but also for the Oklahoma squad as a whole. Right now, mid-20s-ish in points, but it's super tight in between the top 10 area back to where you're at, and a good finish could really spur you on. Actually, before I get to anyone you'd like to shout out, one more question for you. This is strictly an impulse one. Obviously, with your channel, big, a lot of looks at different Japanese music. If you could pick one artist that people may have never heard of before that they should go check out after tonight's Press Subscribe 200, who would it be and why?
I'm going to say a band called Bakyun the Everyday. I did a video on them. They have 200 monthly listeners. They have a really, really good album called New Boys, New Girls, New City Punk that I have not shut up about for like a year. It's one of my favorite albums really ever. It's great. They are very underappreciated.
Alrighty. Well, I personally will be sure to give them a listen once tonight's race is over, as I'm sure hopefully some other folks here in the chat. We'll also have to look up your video on the channel there. Anyone you'd like to shout out while you're up here in the booth before we get underway tonight?
Yeah, just kind of everyone at OU Esports that's made this like run so far possible. I mean, Mario and John have been fast, and that's been great. Mario's kind of like stepped up to the program lead this year, and that he's done great. All like the OU staff members like Moog and Jacob who have helped get us to the point where we're able to run up front every week. All those guys put in a lot of work, and it's been really fun.
Alrighty. Well, Sky, thank you so much for jumping on the Ignition Zone pre-race show here with us. It's been a blast being able to chat with you for a few minutes, and I'm sure I'll speak for Brad as well in this case. Well, we're wishing you the best of luck tonight in Kansas. Obviously, having to go from the back to the front, but we'll see what lays in store here for you and the 43 team.
Yeah, thank you.
Alrighty, and that was Sky Shrek, driver of the number 43 for Oklahoma. Teammates have won the past two races. You got to imagine the pressure's on, Brad, a little bit for Sky to also get the victory lane, even if not tonight, sometime this season, knowing that your teammates go out first two races, win-win. I mean, that's got to put an immense amount of pressure on you to be able to mirror that.
I agree, Alex. I mean, you couldn't really ask for a better start for Oklahoma, and even to say that, they're doing something pretty historic right now. Just, obviously it's only been two races, so I'm not going to jump too much ahead there, but, expecting a 3 for 3 to start the season is a tall task, and especially three different drivers doing that will be an even taller task. So I think all three of them have the capability to win the race, I think, and I really want to see some of that teamwork they were talking about, maybe push each other to the front, get each other in some good situations, and maybe some pit strategies, as in team orders, can come into play here at the end of the race if we have another long green flag run.
Yeah, that is certainly a possibility. One thing that also you mentioned, and I think about it, I don't know if there's ever been a university in the CIL, at least on the oval side, to have three different... Oh, no, only last year. It was only last year with Ball State, because they had Nanny and Alif, and I want to say Andrew Stakey, or at least it was three drivers in the playoffs. It was either three different winners or Stakey pointed his way in. But either way, it is an incredibly difficult feat to have three different drivers lock themselves into the playoffs here. Even harder to have three different race winners for your program. It just goes to show the level of talent across the board there. But, we will just have to wait and see what comes up for not only them, but also this entire field. We have over 48 cars who have attempted to qualify for tonight's event. So there's going to be DNQ. So the first step to winning tonight is just making the show. But we will be taking a quick commercial break, folks. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, it will be the official start of the Press Subscribe 200 presented by Kuralmi. This has been the Ignition Zone pre-race show. We will be right back.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, McCone.
With the launch of McCone Entertainment and McCone Competizone alongside McCone Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at McConeSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at McCone Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Hello, my name's Aaron Brown from the Garage Shop in Denver, North Carolina. We're here at the famous Bonneville Speedway in Wendover, Utah. One of the most harshest environments on the planet to race in, and that's why we need the best tools Snap-on has to offer. What we use here to pump up the oil in our race engines to prime them is this Snap-on screw gun. With its variable speed and high torque, this allows us to spin our oil pumps up to 1,500 RPMs, creating 70 pounds oil pressure, which helps us get everything settled in, nice and happy, and turn the hot oil through the engine. It's compact, lightweight, and able to fit in really tight spaces. Its 9-position clutch allows us to torque things, nuts, bolts, from 8-inch to 50-inch pounds. Small size and high performance helps us get into many places on a race car where normal tools can't. Under the dash and the engine compartment, we also use this to drill a lot of holes in very tight spots.
The CIL Garage Shop College Cup Series season presses on tonight in the American Heartland for the first 1.5-mile track of the season. The ambient sound of wind rolling down the plains and the odd cow in the distance are about to get drowned out with the sound of over 40 stock cars roaring at speeds of over 185 miles an hour. Returning to where the CIL began, it's time for round 3 of the regular season. Coming to you live from the virtual Kansas Speedway, it's the Garage Shop College Cup Series presented by the Collegiate iRacing League. Want to welcome you all in if you didn't get to join us for the Ignition Zone pre-race show. Alongside producer Christian Hill and former CIL driver Brad Daniels, I'm Alex Gagnon, welcoming you in for tonight's coverage of the 3rd round of the 2024 Garage Shop College Cup Series season. I want to give a big shout out as well to the Garage Shop, a race car fabrication company that builds some of the fastest and most unique cars, trucks, and off-road vehicles in the country. Their mission is simple: honor the racers who came before us and put our competitors behind us. We want to thank them for being the season-long sponsor of the College Cup Series. Well, Brad, it is time for race 3 of the regular season, first mile and a half of the year. Got to tell you, I'm excited. I think this is going to be a great show.
I agree, Alex. I think this racetrack has a lot to offer, especially for a mile and a half track where we've seen in real life these next-gen cars do amazing at. A lot of speed. Personally, racing on this track just feels like a great, along with Las Vegas, like those two tracks to me just feel great to drive around, race around. You can hold your own line. The progressive banking and everything with this track just offers so much. And it's not as wide as Auto Club, but it definitely offers a lot of action.
Yeah, you can definitely run multiple lanes here at Kansas, and we saw that to a T earlier this year in the NASCAR Cup Series. Kyle Larson, Chris Buescher going at it to 1,000th of a second on that last lap. I mean, you can kind of put this car wherever, and it will respond, assuming you do so appropriately. You can't just launch it in there willy-nilly, but if you are comfortable with what you're doing, you can run up high, you can run down at the apron, you can run that middle lane if you need to. A lot of options there. But, you know, this is the site of the first ever CIL race back in season 1, back in 2020. First ever CIL Garage Shop College Cup Series race was right here at Kansas Speedway. We return once again here tonight. And Brad, you know, I think it's going to be a ton of fun. Obviously on screen there, a little bit of track information. As you can see, first seen 2021, first season here. Relatively new oval, all things considered. Only created in 2001. It's only 23 years old. One of the younger ovals on the track, but it has certainly come to life in these past couple seasons.
And then just outside of Kansas City, you know, that big city is home of the Chiefs, the Royals. There's a lot of different sports held in this city, and NASCAR is one of the more exciting ones, in my opinion, here in Kansas.
I mean, yeah, if you ever have seen the Royals play the past couple of years, I think a day at Kansas Motor Speedway will surpass that any day of the week. That being said, let's talk a little bit more here about the racing line at Kansas. Producer Christian, do we have a qualifying video of a driver here at Kansas? Alrighty, Producer Christian's going to get that queued up. And in the meantime, we will sit here and yap just another minute longer or so. Brad, I always feel like, you know, obviously Auto Club was the first non-restrictor play track of the year, so the first, like, dare I say, real race of the year, at least as far as having a lot of driver skill be implemented and not kind of like the luck of restrictor plates. The mile and a halves, I think, really show how well you know your craft as a driver, because this is the bread and butter not only of stock car racing, but especially these next-gen cars. This is what these cars were built for.
Yeah, this mile and a half track offers a lot, and I think one thing that we will see comparative to the last 2 weeks is we'll see a lot more spread out, racing. We kind of saw at Auto Club, especially after the restarts, there were clumps of a dozen cars together. I mean, there was technically a lead pack until really like 20 or 30 laps after the green flag run. So I think Kansas will show who can, keep care of their tires and really who can really pull out whenever it gets down to it, pull out to a great lead. So a couple things to note here. Unlike Kansas, this track offers some progressive banking. Like I said before, it got some multiple grooves that you can run, and opened in 2001. I mean, it really hasn't changed, I don't think, Alex, since it's been opened, right? It's been pretty much a very consistent racetrack.
Outside of, I think they added like a kids park up in the grandstands a couple seasons ago, like that. Not really, as far as the on-track product is concerned, hasn't changed very much, but alrighty. Alrighty. So here we go, folks. We're going to jump on board, take a look at one of the qualifying laps here at Kansas Speedway, get you a sense of the speed, the scope, what drivers are going to be dealing with here today on board with the 88 of Andrew Stagey. So he's running up. He's honestly taking that high side through 1 and 2. Not too often you see an oval where that is the optimal way to go about it. He actually clipped the wall a little bit there going into 3 and 4. And this actually might be the warm-up lap to get some heat into the tires. But you see he dives down to the apron there, Brad, and I think we'll see a bit of that today as it's a way to just shorten that front stretch even more.
Yeah, and the one thing to note is you can see he's running that high line. That high line offers a lot for both your tire wear and overall speed down this backstretch. You'll see a lot of cars diving into the corner to really try and stay on the inside, make those passes. And it's not that hard to make a pass here, but also it's hard to keep those tires fresh. As you can see, Andrew Stagey taking that apron yet again to try and maximize the track as much as possible here.
Alrighty, well, that sounds like it's just about time then. Now that we've seen what qualifying is like here at Kansas, let's see how everyone fared tonight. 50 drivers attempted qualifying, only 43 are going to make the show. Time for tonight's starting grid and the Press Subscribe 200 on pole tonight. It is Ball State's Andrew Stagey, the 88 machine, running a 30.108 fastest time tonight, and one of the only drivers outside of his teammate R. Muhammad Alif to run a 30.1 in qualifying. Alif to his outside there in the front row. Clint Halterman going to roll off in row 2 alongside Talladega winner Mario Miranda. In row 3, it's Clemson's Jake Hall, and Matthew Nordberg of NC State makes his return tonight in the 076 machine. The Wolfpack going to try and make it happen from the third row. In row 4, it is Ryan Whitlock, the University of Alabama Huntsville on the inside. To his outside, the 30 machine of Daniel Nanny. And in row 5, last week's winner from Auto Club, John Hagan, alongside Kelton Quick from Ball State.
On the inside of row 6, we got Matthew Burton from ETSU. To his outside, Ricky Paz from East Carolina. In row 7, current alumni leader Andrew Williams from Clemson. To his outside, Garrett Bitton from ASU. In 15th, we got Alex Finnerty, and to his outside, Connor Bingle. Moving on down to 17th, Edwin Onofre on the inside. To his outside, we got Edward Sanchez from Baruch. And rounding out your top 20 is Nicholas Stockner from Clemson University and Andrew Burrell from Clemson as well.
Alrighty, Ben Neller rolling off 21st tonight for Ball State. Jared Kaler to his outside, the multi-time champion, going to have to do a lot of work to get to the front tonight. 23rd, it's Lucas Moody of Ball State. Jake Cummings from Converse University, the last CIL driver to win at Kansas, going to roll off 24th. Zach DeWale needs a big points day today to get his season back on track. He'll roll off alongside Drexel's Jason Wallet. In 27th, it's Brandon Schulenberger for Wingate. Sky Shrek from the University of Oklahoma qualifies 28th, but we know they have an end-of-line penalty to start tonight's race. And then in row 15, it's Ethan Decatur from Valparaiso University. Zach Lindler from Lenore-Rhine to his outside.
In row 16, we got Logan Smith from Auburn, and to his outside, Jordan Byers from Penn State. In 33rd, Landon Bellicky from Auburn, and then Aiken Lamar to his outside from Howard Community College. 35th, we got Logan Harpine from ETSU and Lee Kane from the University of Southern Mississippi. In 37, Charles Wembley from Guilford College and Spencer Brown to his outside from UNC Charlotte. And rounding out your top 40 here, we got Bryce Kobler from Emory and Henry, and to his outside, Zach Tallman from Penn College of Technology.
And the last cars to make the field tonight, Emory and Henry's Sawyer Mullins, Roger Primo from Paul Smith's College. With the last car to make it tonight, Hunter Hedesti from Clemson. Drivers not making the show, Devin Defoe from the University of Arizona, alongside Oscar Enriquez from George Mason, Carter Capini from Paul Smith's College, Wesley Shaw, Kiefer Phillips, Nathaniel Crone, and Connor Martin all going to be going home early this evening. I mean, it is a full field and then some tonight. This is going to be fun. Drivers getting their cars ready to go on the grid. And it is just about time for racing here at Kansas Speedway. Brad, with Ball State locking out the front row, got to imagine they're the favorites tonight, at least in the early going.
Absolutely, and I think one thing to note is they have 3 cars in the top 10. So much like Oklahoma here, I think they're gonna try and keep the front pack or the front spots here and try to control this race. But like we said before, Kansas isn't as draft heavy as the other 2 races we've seen. So I think we're gonna see a little bit of strategy calls, a little bit of everything. And at the end of this race, if there's another late race caution, we might see just everything go out the window and everyone fend for themselves.
Yeah, it's certainly not unheard of here in the Collegiate iRacing League, that is for sure. But, all right, while we've got a second, let's take a quick look at tonight's race analysis. 133 laps around this 1.5-mile track for a 200-mile race. Stage set for lap 60, and we're going to make note of that so we don't miss it like we did Talladega. Pit road speed 45 miles an hour, a drastic change from when you can get up to about 188 down the straightaways here. 5 sets of tires are available for tonight's race with an estimated fuel window of about 55 to 60 laps. So if you save well enough, you can make that opening stage on fuel. Far less likely you'd be able to stretch it on the second half of this race though. But as the field makes their way through turns 3 and 4, pace car getting ready to peel off for the first time tonight. Ball State's Andrew Stagey and R. Muhammad Alif going to lead them to the green flag. And here we go racing in America's heartland. We are racing from Kansas Speedway. All right, Stagey leads that opening lap. He has absolutely no separation, though, from R. Muhammad Alif or Clint Halterman behind him up at the front of the field. As things continue to sort on through, I mean, you can just see how busy this field is right now. Stagey with a mirror full of cars.
As you saw at the opening laps here, Alex, there was a couple 3-wide passes going on, and that's not typical here at Kansas, but it definitely can happen. As you see a little bit of a bump draft going down the front stretch going into turn 1 as Clint Halterman looks to clear Al Muhammad Alif going into turn 2 here. Andrew Stagey, I mean, he's hoping R. Muhammad Alif can stay behind him, maybe keep each other at the head of the pack here. And, well, as you can see, Mario Miranda and John Hagan are already pushing their way up to the front.
That they are, the Oklahoma drivers making short work at the front of the field here, trying to work their way up to Stagey, who continues to lead. Alif is second, but here come the Oklahoma drivers not too far behind him.
As you can see, the top 11 or 12 here, I mean, it's still within a second. Obviously it's only been 4 laps to this point, but still people are keeping up with each other, using that draft down the front stretch and back stretch. And you can see a little bit of 3-wide action here going into turn 1. It looks like Drew Williams, Ricky Paz involved here, and Matthew Burton to the outside going through turns 1 and 2.
Alrighty, folks, we recognize that we were having a little bit of camera difficulty there with iRacing, so we're going to try and get that reset up for you. In the meantime, we'll do a little old school radio style to keep bringing the coverage as we continue under the green flag here. Andrew Stagey leads up at the front of the field right now. He has only got about a car length, though, over the 27 machine of John Hagan. Oklahoma's car has worked his way into P2 here, gotten around Alif. Miranda and Alif battling down the back straightaway for third. Alif looks for the crossover there to get back on around. And now Hagan back to the outside. Stagey continuing to take up a whole lot of track here, holding on to the lead up front. John Hagan, though, is hungry. As you see on board, there are our drivers. We got 12 different driver cams tonight. You can see everyone trying to put in work in the early going as we're continuing to get these cameras rebooted.
And you can see there's a lot of different, it looks like some people are ultra focused and some people look a little relaxed right now. I mean, it's only the opening couple of laps, so obviously there's nothing to be worried about too much. But I mean, sometimes it gets a little hectic here at Kansas, especially when you're trying to hold that outside line, stay alongside cars, and not trying to lose it coming out of some of these corners.
That is true. Up at the front, John Hagan has gotten around the 88 of Andrew Stagey, so Oklahoma's John Hagan now leads at the front of the field. R. Muhammad Alif of Ball State hot on his heels, though. As the 077 of Clinton Halterman going to look to the inside for second. And it looks like we've got cars back on track here. Exciting stuff, so everyone can see what we're talking about up here as well. Alrighty, on board there, you see Jake Hall just ahead of Ryan Whitlock, Drew Williams. That is the battle for around the 10th position.
Looks like Ricky Pod is going to pull himself out of a 3-wide situation here coming out of 4, taking those 2 positions and staying behind Drew Williams, trying to keep up, trying to use as little tire as possible here, running that outside line. I mean, the people on the inside aren't using that much of, that much tire wear here, but it's definitely going to, if they keep running that line, it'll go into effect.
So Hagan up at the point here, the 27 machine for Oklahoma. One last week at Auto Club, trying to make it 2 in a row tonight. But he has a couple of multi-time CIL winners on his back bumper as Clint Halterman and R. Muhammad Alif directly in the tire tracks of the 27. Into 1 and 2 they go. Halterman going to look high to the 27. Alif goes low, and they'll be side by side for second just behind the leader. Hagan down the back straightaway, keeping them both at bay. Miranda has worked his way in the 4th, watching the action unfold. And Daniel Nanny, a strong charge to the front so far for the Ball State driver. He's up to P5.
They come across the stripe here. R. Muhammad Alif really wants that second position. He keeps looking on in the inside to Clint Halterman, but Halterman's able to keep to his outside this entire time, as you see coming through turn 2. Daniel Nanny's trying to look to the inside of Mario Miranda. Doesn't get too close there, but as you can see, Andrew Stagey's coming up to his bumper, giving him a little push going into turn 3.
A lot of Ball State cars in the top 7 right now, 3 of them to be exact. Nearly half of this top group, but they are chasing the back bumper of John Hagan up at the front of the field. R. Muhammad Alif qualified front row. You see on board here with the road course ace of the Garage Shop College Cup Series. Has won on an oval before. Has picked up a couple victories, I believe, at Phoenix Raceway, but has not won here at Kansas. Would love to add that to his resume when this one is said and done. And in good shape here, watching this battle unfold in front of him. And one of the things I really like about the way Alif races these tracks is I feel like he's so good with his tire wear relative to some of the less experienced drivers in the field.
Yeah, Alex, he finds a way to keep his tires fresh. It seems like the longer the run, the better he is. And the one thing, especially racing against him, you feel like you're pulling away from him. You might be a little faster, but if that run goes after 20 laps, he just blows on by. And he's at even these short run stints, he's definitely someone to look out for. He's got the speed, and he's always in the front.
One thing, if you were taking a look at that onboard, folks, you could see how actively the 12 was shifting. He was getting down the 4th in the corner, shifting back up in the 5th at the end of the straightaway. I mean, he is very active, jumping between 4th and 5th gear to get that car to rotate in the corners. working to decent effect so far, but he's got Ryan Whitlock and Daniel Nanny going to try and split him 3 wide here. His teammate up high, Whitlock down low. They're both going to work on by the 12, as now Drew Williams looks to pounce. This has quickly deteriorated for the 12. The situation nearly dropping him now out of the top 10. He's out of the top 5 with a whole host of cars on his back bumper. Whitlock and Williams going to try and find their way on by. 12 car going to continue to run that middle lane. He's about a half lane up from the apron. Just a little bit higher than the 81 was. Whitlock very comfortable running the apron, trying to make this track as short as possible for himself.
We have well, it looks like 3 rows deep, 2 wide action here as Drew Williams gets a little shaky going through in the turn 1 here. Ryan Whitlock's going to try and pull himself out of the corner here, but looks like they're a little bit locked here in speed as Andrew Stagey, you see the peers in the background waiting for one of them to mess up so he can try and make his way through to join his Ball State teammate.
And on board there with the 88 of Andrew Stagey, the pole sitter tonight from Ball State. Got the Cardinal colors on, not only on the car, but also on the shirt. Repping the brand as he runs that high side here in 1 and 2. And you can see up at the front of the field here, one little mistake from Clint Halterman has dropped him down to 4th. Nanny and Miranda both go on by. They are 3 wide for 2nd. You can watch that right off the front nose there of the 88. But I think Andrew Stagey has bigger fish to fry right now as he's trying to find his way around the 123 machine. Drew Williams 2nd in points. This would be a big pass for the 88 if he can find his way on by.
And one person who's loving that 3 wide action is John Hagan. You see he's brought that gap up to about 0.6 of a second now. All that 3 wide action has just slowed them all down, and you can see they're still just pushing each other around the track here. And it looks like, I'm going to say Daniel Nanny has some speed right now. He's been really making his way up through this pack, and by lap 20 here, he's trying to get 2nd place. And as we saw last week, another Oklahoma 1-2 on these green flag runs.
Yeah, so Miranda runs 2nd, but Daniel Nanny hard on the charge right now, all over the back bumper of Mario Miranda, giving the Oklahoma driver a little bit more than he's bargained for here in the opening 20 laps. Been clean and green through the opening 20. Hagan will hit the line to make it lap 21 this time by. He leads ahead of his teammate there, Miranda, Nanny, Alif, and Whitlock, your top 5. Halterman, Williams, Jake Hall, Andrew Stagey, Jake Cummings, your top 10 as they run. And that is a car, that 95 from Converse, Jake Cummings, a car that is on the move right now. He is currently 10th. He started this race in the 24th position, so he's already up 14 spots in the opening 21 laps. That 95 seems to be dialed in as we're still on board here with the 30 of Daniel Nanny, trying to sort out how to break this 1-2 defense from the Oklahoma drivers.
I like that 1-2 defense. That's a good reference here, because it seems like whenever Hagan's in front, Mario does a great job at defending, anybody from 3rd place last week. We saw it was Jake Cummings this week. It's Daniel Nanny, but still a lot of race to go here. And really, Alex, I mean, we're not even halfway to the pit cycle yet.
Yeah, I mean, the stage scheduled for lap 60. Drivers might be able to make it. I think a lot of them might try and pit before that, though. We'll have to see how that shakes out. But yeah, right now, everyone kind of getting settled in. But, once you run 22, 23 laps on these tires, you're going to start noticing a difference. Lap times are going to start to fall off a little bit. The tires are going to be a little warmer, a little more burnt out, a little tougher to control in the corners. And we'll see really who did a good job managing their stuff in the early going versus who fried theirs, as Nanny will clear the 89 of Miranda. And now the Ball State Cardinal machine going to try and reel in the leader. It is Oklahoma Ball State 1-2, and then the same order 3-4 back to Clemson and P5. And then look at that.
Yeah, everyone's trying to get through here. And one person I want to note here, Zach DeWale's knocking on the door of the top 10 here, looking to the inside of Garrett Baton. He was really, I believe he started in the 20s here, so he's also somewhat a man on the move here, taking that 10th position, making his way into the top 10 as Garrett Bitton gives him a little push going across the start-finish line.
It has been an absolutely dreadful start to the season for Zach DeWale as you see him on board with Garrett Vighton just up ahead. Trying to make something happen here tonight at Kansas, and has been honestly a pretty good start to the year, though, for the driver of the 55. Garrett Vighton has put together a pretty solid opening couple of races, puts himself in pretty good position in the points. Right now, currently scored 17th. You know he'd love to really take a big jump up here tonight, currently running in the 12th position with a whole host of positions up for grabs just ahead of him as they are 3 wide and 1 and 2.
Man, oh man, you see, I believe Andrew Stady got a little loose in the middle of that corner, caused them to lose that position as Zach DeWale, they file in line and chase each other through the corner here. Zach DeWale, he is not done taking these positions, I'll tell you what. Dives into the corner here in 3, coming out of 4, trying to take that from Clint Holterman as well, just past Ryan Whitlock. I'm telling you what, I wouldn't be surprised if Zach DeWale is up in the top 5 within the next couple of laps here.
Yeah, that 100 seems to have done a really good job, not only working their way through the field, but managing their tires while they've done so. Kansas not as abrasive as a track as we've seen in some other places. You see a car dip way below the apron farther in the field, but you know, this has been a really quality drive so far from the 100. Zach DeWale, as he works his way now into P6, trying to close in on R. Muhammad Alif. A lot of cars still shuffling in and around the back half of the top 10, though. Ryan Whitlock has had a very busy opening 27 and laps and change here, battling anywhere from about 4th to about 8th now, battling with Jake Hall. The 81 has been alongside someone basically every time that we've jumped to see what he's up to.
I think it's a sigh of relief right now. He's finally got clear lane below him, so he can run his own line. Didn't have to worry about the car beside him. I think the up until the top 15, it looks like, are single file right now. As I say that, Zach DeWale's looking underneath R. Muhammad Alif and will take that position. Well, right now he's got the nose in front. He's looking to take that position, but Alif's going to get that run down the backstretch, so they're going to be side by side. There's a little bit of contact.
Vighton sideways down the back straightaway. Looks like he got it sorted, as did the Clemson driver he was battling with. I want to say it was Nick Stockner.
I believe you're right, Alex. So I believe Stockner was underneath him. It looked like a little bit of contact, and now he's under heat from Jared Kahlers. He's also making his way up the scoreboard here.
Great save from both of those drivers, though. That paved back infield really coming into play, keeping both of these cars in it and inside the top 16 as they run. But a couple of cars who have really struggled here without any sort of incident to worry about has been the 076 of Matt Nordberg, our pole sitter Andrew Stagey, not Jared Kaler, but a couple of these guys have really fallen out of that top group and are starting to struggle a little bit. One car that is not struggling, though, is Zach DeWale. He has cleared R. Muhammad Alif, I believe, up at the front of the field. So he's now up at the P5. What a battle we've got going on just ahead of these guys, though. Yeah, nice little scrap forming. Jake Hall, Ryan Whitlock, all the way back to Matthew Burton there in 11th. A couple of cars all battling in and around the top 10. You see Lucas Moody now look to the inside of Vighton, on board with the 13.
Right now he's battling Nick Stockner to make sure he can even set up a pass on Vighton. Going down the backstretch, he's able to clear Stockner and going into turn 3. I'm thinking he's going to try and, I think Vighton took that inside line, so it looks like Moody's going to be okay with taking that high line, get that run, and potentially get into turn 1 and make that pass as he hits the wall a little bit, I believe.
And while we were on board here with Lucas Moody trying to make that move, we've got some moves up at the front of the field. Daniel Nanny has slipped past John Hagan. Hagan not too happy about it. He's going to try and get right to the back bumper of the 30 here in the 3 and 4. Going to drive it in real deep against the 30 machine. And Hagan might be able to take the lead back. Daniel Nanny, though, going to keep a nose to the outside corner as they cross the start-finish line. Lap led for the 27, but maybe not for long. Daniel Nanny is there and applying pressure. They make contact in 1 and 2.
Still 100 laps to go, but they're really pushing each other here for the lead. As you can see, Mario Miranda makes his way up to this battle now. So 2 Oklahoma drivers and Daniel Nanny trying to break his way out of this 2-car tango here just to try and take the lead and control this race.
Nanny up high for Ball State. Hagen down low. Caution is out. Caution is out for the first time tonight. They ran the opening 34 laps green. And now for the first time, an issue out on track.
Ricky Paws involved, getting that right front tire up in the air a little bit, trying to rejoin.
So clearly the 19 got a piece of it. The question becomes, was he part of the catalyst or simply an unwilling bystander of how that shook out? Going to get that replay queued up to see what happened. It's not been a bad start to the season necessarily for Ricky Paws and the ECU machine, but he is certainly not having a banner start to Kansas here tonight. You see he's on the outside there of the 5 of Bryce Kobler.
They're side by side going down the backstretch, and just 2 cars going for the same spot, it looked like here.
Yeah, they ran out of real estate. Tough to tell exactly what happened from that angle, but we know the 5 and the 19 got tangled up on the straightaway. Not a typical place you see 2 cars making contact. We'll jump on board here with the 5 of Bryce Kobler. You see the 19 just to the right side of your screen, and they run side by side, a little bit of side drafting most of the back straightaway, and then, I don't know, it's tough to tell. It looks like the 5 maybe just moves up the track a little bit, trying to get a little bit more side drafting on, and the 2 of them just run out of space.
Yeah, Alex, I think it was just trying to have a little too much side draft there, and unfortunately I think Ricky Paws moved a little bit down, but still Bryce Kobler was applying that pressure, and unfortunately they were both trying to hit the same spot and ended up getting turned around there. Not a lot of damage though, fortunately for those 2 drivers.
I mean, even for Ricky Paws, I mean, outside of having to get new tires, not really any structural damage, I don't think, to the 19. So both of them should be relatively fine, all things considered here for Emory and Henry and East Carolina. You see the 5 coming down pit road here, getting fresh tires. The field had just come down pit road a moment ago. And let me tell you, there's a bit of a shakeup at the front of the field. It was not a great stop for the 27 of John Hagen or the 30 of Daniel Nanny. Because now up at the front of the field, it is Mario Miranda who jumps both of them. Drew Williams going to do the same. So the 89 and the 123 win that race off of pit road. And that is going to certainly change the complexion. Just a reminder for folks, this is the Press Subscribe 200 presented by Cure Almy. And this has been a thrilling opening 37 laps of this race. The stage scheduled for lap 60. So whenever they get racing again in a couple laps, we'll have about a 20-lap sprint to the stage caution. Well, you know, it's been one of those things. The stage is obviously new this year for the Garage Shop College Cup Series, Brem. Not something that they had done the prior 10 years, but it is something that the NASCAR Cup Series does on the actual tracks here. What are your thoughts on these stage breaks? Do you feel like has it been a good addition to try and incentivize racing through the middle of the field, or has it been just another yellow flag in what some races have been just a litany of yellow flags?
I think it offers a lot of opportunity in itself, good and bad. I think the main thing is a lot of strategy can come from it. I think a lot of these cars took this caution as a good time to get new tires, reset, and also they can pit again at that stage break. So I think that's a good opportunity. And I guess the only downfall of that, like you said, Alex, it's another caution, but at the same time, it offers a lot of strategy calls, a lot of different movement at the front, as we see Drew Williams and Mario Miranda both made their way up to the front, or corner points 1-2 position. So I think the stage break gives a lot of opportunity. Alex, anything you want to add to that?
No, I mean, I think you've got it covered. I mean, we're looking at this front group here as we're about to go racing again. Miranda and Hagan lined up nose to tail on the inside. Drew Williams, Zach DeWale, a couple of OWR drivers on the outside, with Ball State running 5-6. You can see where the battle lines are drawn here through the front 3 rows. Pace car going to peel away. The 2 points leaders of Miranda and Williams going to lead them to the restart zone, and we are back to racing here at Kansas. The field got really stacked up behind the 89, and that is going to bunch everybody up in the turn 1.
John Hagan gave that push to Mario, and that really got them both out to the lead. As you see, Ball State wasting no time trying to make sure they can get their way to the front while these tires are still fresh. As you see a little bit of a bump from the 123, gives the 12 an opportunity to go to the inside, going into turn 3. And John Hagan might be suffering here as he's going middle 3 wide into the turn. Alif has to pull out, and it looks like he's going to keep that second position at the moment.
Ball State going to try and get lined up nose to tail. So are the OWR cars. Meanwhile, a huge move there, a little deeper in the field. I think that was Kaler who nearly took the nose off of his teammate Clint Halterman. An aggressive move by the 58 to try and get them track position. Whoa. Matt Burton clips the wall down the back straightaway, 4 wide as they go into turn 4. Sanchez running out of room. Kaler trying to clear. Will he be able to? Boy, they are running really close right there off the corner. Somehow they get it sorted. It's down to 3 wide. Unbelievable stuff. They ran 4 wide through 3 and 4, and everyone kept it pointed the right direction.
They're still 3 wide, 2 rows deep. This is amazing. As you see, the 98 gets real loose and almost tags the 26 of Edward Sanchez. Loses a lot of time there as we see the 7 of Brandon Schollenberger gaining a lot of positions from that. Again, 3 wide in the middle as Clint Halterman is on his outside, holding them down there to that middle line.
Yeah, Schollenberger boxed in right now. He's just trying to do whatever he can to find some separation. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, Daniel Nanny, Drew Williams battling for second just behind John Hagan. Here comes a 3-wide battle for fourth between Alif and that is the 89 of Miranda. Sanchez in the mix there as well. It looks like the field is settled out to about 2 wide now. It's the calmest it's been in the past couple laps. It looks now less like a hornet's nest and a little bit more just like a little bit of a procession. Side by side they go. Nanny to the inside of the 30. DeWale there just behind him. Edward Sanchez using a little bit of pit strategy to get himself into position here. Sanchez started tonight 18th. He's up to 6th as he looks to do a little over-under against the 89. Diving to the inside here for 5th.
That was some close racing there. I'll tell you what, he's looking to the inside of Mario Miranda here, I believe, yes. Forgot where I was at, sorry.
Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, Daniel Nanny has tried to take the spot away again from John Hagan. The battle that left off right at the caution is picked right back up again. This time it's Nanny on the inside. Hagan trying to close that spot off. Might be able to do so here. Oh, the 30 caught the apron, nearly washed up in the Drew Williams. That was almost catastrophic for the front of the field. But Nanny able to hold on to it. No contact with Williams, and they'll continue door to door for P2.
Man, it feels like this little 10-lap run feels like it's the last 10 laps. Everyone's jostling for positions, and as you can see, getting a little push. Nanny's getting pushed into turn 3 here by Mario Miranda to get past Drew Williams, but Drew Williams is able to keep his nose in there and stay to the outside. John Hagan's still in touch with these cars as they've been battling, and right now it looks like Drew and Nanny get a little bit of contact, possibly coming into turn 1 as well.
I think both of those guys are probably sick of being able to reach out and, make contact with the car next to them. As Miranda going to make an elevator move, top to bottom, 3 wide for second. The 89 surges ahead. A great run down the back straightaway. He's alongside his teammate for the lead. Meanwhile, Daniel Nanny about to get swallowed up from behind here. Sanchez up high. DeWale down low. Big move there from Miranda trying to close off Drew Williams. Look at how close they're running inside the top 5. You could throw a blanket over all of them.
Man, oh man, and Nanny just puts his car right in that. I mean, there couldn't have been more than 2 inches in front of Drew Williams there as they go into turn 3 here. single file finally. As I say that, Daniel Nanny looks to the outside of Mario here, trying to break up that Oklahoma pack here.
Oklahoma continues to find success up at the front of the field. What was not there at Auto Club last week but is here tonight, though, is the emergence of Daniel Nanny, a Championship 4 driver from a season ago, putting on a show up at the front of the field, trying to do what he can to clear these two Oklahoma drivers. He's once again ahead of Mario Miranda. He just has not been able to crack the code yet against John Hagan. But Hagan has not been able to get any separation from the field. His largest lead tonight has only been about 0.3 of a second.
Man, oh man, and I mean, Edward Sanchez also up here in the top 6. He's keeping his cool with that, I believe, a 2-tire strategy call on the outside of Zachary DeWale. DeWale on the inside, the only guy down there, it looks like, for about 10 or 15 cars here. So he's just trying to make his way down on the low line. He doesn't really have draft support, but he looks like he's clear of Drew Williams, so he might slide up and, get in that draft of the Oklahoma 89 machine.
Yeah, he did for just a moment, but now he's getting pushed down the straightaway by Williams. He's going to look back to the inside of DeWale here in 1 and 2 as Miranda and Nanny continue their battle for second. It has been absolutely furious racing up throughout the top 10 ever since the restart. Next time by, it'll be 10 laps to go to the stage break. Hagan leads over Nanny, Miranda, DeWale, and Williams here in the Press Subscribe 200. And you can see there on your screen the big movers of the day, the ones that really jump off the page. Zach DeWale up 21 positions, Jared Kaler up 15, Edward Sanchez up 12, and Brandon Schulenberger back in 10th, also up 17 positions. He's had a really good drive the past few laps here.
It looks like pretty much everyone in the top 11 here is trending upwards, trying to keep themselves in the front, as it looks like the 96 machine gets in the wall. I believe that's the 96 machine.
The 96 would be the Lenore Ryan driver of Zach Lindler, who I do not believe is on the lead lap. He actually has scored 1 lap down right now in 42nd. And he is up there right now battling with Jared Kaler. Kaler on the lead lap running in P7. However, Lindler trying to stay ahead of the 111 car of Ethan Decatur. Should the caution come out anytime before the stage break, or if he stays in front of him at the stage break, the 96 would be the car in position to get the free pass. Meanwhile, up front, a big slide by the 89. He's real loose off the corner. So was Daniel Nanny. Both of them out of sorts coming off the corner. They nearly lost it. But nose to tail, they run some more for second. Meanwhile, DeWale has worked his way into the picture as well. He's to the inside of Nanny for third.
Stage points here at the end of this stage. So, I mean, everyone's trying to make sure they can get the most points possible here within the next 6 laps. As you can see, Daniel Nanny using that high line, trying to keep up with the draft and everything like that.
We're going to do a quick onboard here with the 36 of Sawyer Mullins. The big day for the driver of the 36 and his family. It is his mother's birthday today. So happy birthday, Sir Mullins. He's got a little post on the A-frame there for her. It's her 54th birthday today, and she'll be enjoying the Xfinity and Cup race at Bristol this weekend with Sawyer and his dad. It'll be a fun opportunity for all of them, so happy birthday to Miss Mullins, and sweet looking ride there for the 36, although right now not having a ton of pace as he's currently running around in the 37th position. So we've got 5 laps to go in the stage. Next time by, John Hagan leads up at the front of the field over Daniel Nanny, Zach DeWale, Mario Miranda, Drew Williams. That front pack about as separated as they've been all evening long. Hagan leads by half a second, although still a lot of battling happening in the back half of the top 10. Those are stage points that are on the line between the 55 of Vetton alongside Schulenberger and Halterman. All 3 of these guys battling for stage points, and for someone like Clint Halterman, these are some very critical stage points because It has not been a very kind opening few races for the 077. He would love a few stage points to help buffer his points total at the moment, plus maybe a decent finish, because he is really not having a great time through the opening 2 races.
And as you can see on the right side of your screen, Brandon Schoenberg currently in the 9th position as we run, and that's including here at being 10th in stage points. But one thing to note here, Alex, there's no Clint Halterman, so he, like you said, he needs to get these stage points, try to make his way up in the top 10, and if he doesn't find a win this season, point his way into the postseason.
Yeah, that is not a concept that is lost on the 077 of Halterman. He's pointed his way in before. Schulenberger, also a playoff driver from a year ago. He'll look to make it 2 in a row this year if he can help it. Right now, currently scored 10th in the points and 10th on track right now for the number 7 machine. As we are 2 laps from the stage, actually I believe 1 lap from the stage, unless it is the end of lap 60. That is the one thing I can never remember. Producer Christian, is it the start of the lap? All right, last lap of the stage then. John Hagen in 3 and 4, gonna wheel it around for one more set of corners to bring it to the stage break. Oh, and the caution's out now. There is something that has happened deeper in the field. Logan Smith is sideways. The 34 sideways down the back straightaway as John Hagen will lead him to the line to win the stage here at Kansas. Your points for the stage will go to Hagen, Nanny, DeWale, Miranda, Williams, Kaler, Viton, Sanchez, Halterman, Schulenberger. However, the caution was for something far bigger, a bit farther back in the field.
We see a little bit of a replay. Oh, a lot of action back
see
here.
where this may have started.
Ooh, the 33 gets in the wall, and it looks like just not enough room for the 099, and Logan Smith, as he gets sent around, does a quick burnout and just can't save it, as the 121 of Andrew Burrell takes him out for the finishing move here.
I think the 34 honestly would have saved it off the spin if he didn't also have contact from the 121, but much to your point, Brad, this all starts with the 33 gets into the wall, and the 34 at the same time kind of goes up the track, I guess thinking that he was only too wide, when in fact the 33 was there, and they just all run out of space. We're on board here with Andrew Burrell, who does not see, no way to really, you would have thought that lane was going to be open until it wasn't.
Well, yet again, another wreck. This one might be a little more costly in terms of damage, but altogether, everyone I think should still be at least racing. No one's DNF'd at this point.
Well, only one, and it does appear that Zach Lindler for Lenore Ryan has disconnected from the session. He has currently scored 5 laps down. Not sure what happened, but the moment that we cut away from him a few laps ago, it seems he has disconnected from the session, so I do believe he will be scored in the last position tonight. However, that does mean Ethan Decatur does get the free pass, which means we still have 42 cars on the lead lap halfway through this race. A far cry from how these first 2 CIL races have gone this year, Brad. A lot of green flag action so far at Kansas.
What we want to see. I mean, I know some people like to watch the wrecks, but these green flag laps have really a lot of 3-wide action, a lot of things I didn't expect to see, especially early in the race before the stage.
While we've got a moment here, want to thank a couple of folks who make this series possible. First off, obviously, the Garage Shop, the season-long sponsor of the Garage Shop College Cup Series. Race car fabrication company that builds some of the fastest and most unique cars, trucks, and off-road vehicles in the country. Their mission is simple: honor the racers who came before us and put our competitors behind us. Visit thegarageshop200.com for more information, and thank you to the Garage Shop for being our season-long series sponsor. Big shout-out as well to ECAC Esports. ECAC Esports exists to add value to its member schools by enhancing the competitive experience for hundreds of students seeking to participate in intercollegiate esports. And of course, the McCone Setup Shop. the home for setups, paint schemes, coaching, and more, the official setup shop of eNASCAR. Visit McConeSetupShop.com today to subscribe. And of course, Whiplash SimCams, the iRacing and Esports Media Group specializing in racing and team graphics, iRacing camera packs, and other broadcasting resources. And of course, tonight's race sponsor, the Press Subscribe 200, presented by Cure Almi, Sky Shrek's YouTube channel covering Japanese music and auto racing. We'll jump on board here. We'll find the 43 machine. Had the EOL to start the race. So far has worked their way up a little bit here. Currently scored in the 26th position, so making some headway toward the front of the field, but definitely still a ways to go to get up there with her other Oklahoma teammates. There is Sky, who we got to talk to in the Ignition Zone pre-race show.
Alex, coming to the second, well, not second half, but really the second part of this race. What are you expecting to see as in strategies and overall racing? Do you think it's going to be more crazy than we've already seen?
I think we'll definitely see some cars with a little more hustle in their step trying to get up to the front of the field. I have no doubt about that. So the field getting stacked up here. It is Alex Finnerty who won the race off of pit road for UNC Charlotte. So the 321 is going to lead him to green with John Hagan, Daniel Nanny, Zach DeWale, your front two rows. And into the restart zone they go. And we are racing once again from Kansas. UNC Charlotte's Alex Finnerty going to lead him into turn one. And immediately, it looks like the tire call there for the 321 was not the move. Hagan and company are going to fly around the outside. The 27 will retake over the point here. Nanny, Miranda, DeWale, Williams. Now your top five is everyone is going around the 321 on the outside.
Pretty wide action here at Brandon Schoenberger, Jared Taylor trying to get past the 321 and going on to into turn one. The 77 of Clint Holtman also there. So if UNC Charlotte will party back here, back to the back half of the top 10. You see Brandon Schoenberger on board with him to the inside of Jared Taylor going into turn three.
On board there with Schulenberger, who's going to make that pass for position 6 on track. Slides up in front of the multi-time CIL College Cup Series champion to take away P6. Schulenberger putting together a really solid drive, got some stage points in that opening run, and now has put himself as high as he's run all night long, running in P6 up 21 spots from where he started. It's been a really good drive so far for the Wingate machine. You can see back behind him, right around that mid-pack area, everything is still side by side deeper in the field. There is a lot of positions up for grab a little bit deeper back as they continue to try and sort out the running order back there. Things in the top 10, though, more or less kind of settled in. On board there, we're going to take a look at this battle. I mean, you can see Whitlock, and that is the 62 of Landon Bellicky. So Alabama, Huntsville, and Auburn going to go at it for P11 here. You also got Ben Neller hot on their heels. And here comes the pole sitter, Andrew Stagey. He struggled in the early going, but trying to rally his way back to the front here, just outside the top 10.
Landon Bellicky dives it in there going into turn one. He's easily going to clear Ryan Whitlock here, and he's looking for another spot potentially with Nick Stockner as Ryan Whitlock goes to the inside, looking into the inside and going into turn three here, dives it in there. And again, like we said, Alex, diving into these turns, you can make up a lot of time, but also you take a lot of wear on those tires.
Yeah, and the other thing is you can sometimes compromise your exit, so while you might slide in front of someone, it might open you up to the old over-under as they try and get back by on the straightaways. If you do not have a good run off the corner, which can happen when you send it in a little too deep, you can kind of make a choice as a stock car driver, either send it in hard or exit hard. When you exit with more speed, so now straighten that thing out, you end up getting a lot more speed down the straightaways, but you're much more cautious on the entries and are susceptible to cars diving in front of you like that. When you dive it in on the inside, on corner entry, you might be able to gain that position in the short term, but it might open you up down the straightaways once you start getting back up to speed. As you see, Lucas Moody going to slide around both of them, and the 13 car going to pull on ahead up to P8 now.
This battle seems to never end with Landon Veliky here. He's always in a battle right now on the inside of Lucas Moody going down the front stretch. Clint Holterman's slowly sliding back, but I think he's going to be making his way back past these guys if he's maybe saving some tires. He's seen some green flag runs happening, maybe just trying to go for the long run. I mean, you can make it in one more pit stop here, Alex, as you see Lucas Moody do the little switcheroo here, little switchback.
Yeah, that was real close to getting a bit of contact between Moody and Veliky, but Moody, a perfectly executed switchback, going to take that spot away and then cuts off the 62's line to do the same. Veliky going to look to the outside, but Moody's going to be door-to-door with him. This battle for P8 continues. 71 laps complete here on this 133-lap race. We are over halfway in this Press Subscribe 200 from Kansas Speedway. Up at the front of the field, John Hagan has company. Daniel Nanny is right on the back bumper of the 27. And then just behind them, Miranda, Williams, and DeWale. This 5-car breakaway has opened up a second on the rest of the field. And it continues to be the cars that we saw at the early going of this race, Brad. They are the ones who continue to have pace here. Got to imagine if they keep this up, the winner's going to come from one of those 5 cars.
I agree, Alex. I think these top 5 have the speed. We've seen Zachary DeWale make his way through the pack. And really, the 2 Oklahoma machines, John Hagan, Mario Miranda, have been always up there. Daniel Nanny's been trying to just move his way between the 2 Oklahoma cars, it seems like the entire race, and right now he's in an Oklahoma sandwich. And then Drew Williams right now leading the alumni points. Very consistent this season so far in the first 3 races. He's up at the front. And I think, yeah, I agree, Alex. Someone in this top 5 is probably going to be our race winner. Now that we say that, it's probably going to go all out the window and somebody else is going to win.
Something catastrophic is going to happen, wipe out the entire top 5, and someone from like 20th is going to find their way to the front in real super speedway fashion. But, you know, right now they're putting on quite the show at the front of the field here. Hagan leads over Nanny, Miranda, Williams, and DeWale. They're trying to get settled in a little bit here, so we will keep an eye on that on the timing table, but we can free up the camera to look at some other battles on track. Clint Halterman and Ben Neller have joined the fray with Veliky and Moody. I mean, you can see this is quite the logjam for the back part of the top 10. Everyone trying to fight for position here in this group. See the 077 gonna maybe get a run here as Neller slammed the wall off of 4.
A little bit behind him, there's a little bit of a wide, like an explosion of cars it looked like. Everyone went to 5 different lanes it looked like, and it's 3 wide going into turn 1 here between Ricky Paz, the 5 car, the 5.
Oh, someone sideways.
Oh.
Someone just peeled off there in turn 2. It might have been Aiken Lamar. I'm not sure it was. It is Spencer Brown in the 52 sideways. However, he is out of the racing line, so iRacing will deem it not a caution, but the UNC Charlotte machine falls to the tail end of the field. Going to take a look at the replay of that real quick if we've got a second.
See going in the turn 1
Spencer
here.
Brown.
And he seems like Muhammad Alif in front of him, and looks like he just might. He seems fine going down the backstretch here.
Maybe it's the next lap that he ends up going around, because it looked all good and fine there. Yeah, no, seems like that might be a different lap. Actually, that might be like the pace lap.
Yeah, it looks like we're.
I think the replay is all.
Oh,
hey, there's two sideways. All right, just about there. So here's Spencer Brown. This is where it actually happens. Contact with the 43 of Sky Shrek. A great save from the 43, but the 099, no regard for the 52 going sideways.
seems like the 099 is. I think that's the second incident we've seen the 099 be. I mean, it wasn't their fault.
Oh,
just
Ben Neller
what?
turned on the front straightaway. Caution's out. He got tangled up with Nick Stockner, and the 79 facing the wrong direction here on the front straightaway, and he makes contact with Roger Primo. Nowhere to go for the 56. So the caution is out for only the third time tonight, but boy, when we take the look at the replay here, we'll see quite the scrap between the 124 and the 79. I caught it just out of the corner of my eye right as we were coming back to the live feed. So here's the replay. Oh, man. Yeah, just 79 coming down the track. The 124 not going down to the apron. And the 79 thought it was going to have a little bit more room. Or I'm not entirely sure, but there was definitely a car to his inside when he tried coming down the track there. And ultimately, it's just the 79 who gets the worst of it. And you thought he was going to get away scot-free, Brad, until the Roger Primo machine, the 56, came in at the last second. On board here with Stockner.
Like you said, Alex, he was expecting Stockner to go down under the apron. It's not a requirement. It's really the driver's option to stay above that line or below it. And you can see Neller and Stockner had two different ideas there, and it caused Neller to go around and ultimately get towed back to pit road. So you can see Ricky Paz having to dodge this very quickly, and you can see other cars like the 43 drive by, thankfully not getting any damage.
And you thought the 79 was going to be fine. He tries to come down the track here in the traffic, and just Primo, nowhere to go, flips right into him.
Well, delayed reaction by the 79. Looked like he got
79,
hit.
I think, honestly, probably should have just held that up to the wall until all of traffic went by. Therefore, to avoid a situation like that, because the 56 really had nowhere to go when the 79 came back down the track there. But tough break for Ben Neller. He was having a really good run. He was running right around the edge of the top 10 when the caution had come out. Now towed back to pit lane. You see some optional repairs there for the 43 of Sky Shrek after the incident with Spencer Brown. A lot of cars using this as a prime opportunity to get new tires, to get some fuel. And I'm looking at the field here, and I think our big mover of the race to this point, Brad, how about Zach Tallman for the Penn College of Technology? Started 40th, and he is currently running in 12th now.
Ooh.
Up 28 spots. Or he's actually dropping down a little bit here. I may have pulled the trigger on that too soon. He may have actually just come down pit road. Well, you win some and you lose some up here in the CIL broadcast booth, and I think that's one that I'm just going to have to live with that I missed.
One thing to note, Alex, I mean, with that last caution, there's racetracks like Kansas, such as, Phoenix and Las Vegas as well, where the apron's optional for people to go underneath. So people can stay above it, but that car on the outside has to leave the room just in case. Now, there is, you can be used to going down to that line when you're on the outside, but not every time can you trust somebody to go onto the apron because, again, it's optional. So, it's just unfortunate in that last caution.
So, here we are. Next time by, it'll be 50 laps to the finish. Here at Kansas. Spencer Brown, a car who we just saw get spun around just a moment ago, will lead the field to green, because I do not know if he came down pit road.
So he was on the lead lap.
This benefits is John Hagan for sure to his outside. Cars that this might severely hinder, the 89 of Mario Miranda directly behind him.
I think this will play out like last restart with the 321 pretty much just losing out by the second turn. If this is the if Spencer Brown did not get any tires, which I think is most likely the case.
Yeah, I would have to imagine, unless he was able to jump down pit road when it opened before the leaders got there. But I'd find that really unlikely, all things considered. So it'll be Spencer Brown for UNC Charlotte, Hagan up there along with Miranda, second and third, Daniel Nanny for Ball State fourth, Brandon Schulenberger fifth, Drew Williams for Clemson sixth, Clint Halterman, Jared Kaler for UNC Charlotte, both of them, 7th and 8th. Jake Cummings, Landon Bellicke, your top 10. Converse and Auburn, respectively, your top 10. Pace car peels off. The field queued up behind Spencer Brown. Into the restart zone they go. And the 52 going to lead them to turn one. What does John Hagan have in store here on the outside? Oh, the caution's already out. That didn't take long at all. Although I don't entirely know what happened.
Still too.
Might be something 71 of Zach Tallman, but I'm not sure. I have a theory that it has something to do with him. The nose on that car does appear to be caved in. I'm hearing from race control that it was multiple cars, no penalty. It was a stack up on the restart. Whatever it is, I think it's maybe a little... Oh, I mean, it just keeps chain reactioning here. Everything gets a little stacked. It keeps getting stacked up even further back.
Oh, my Lord.
Oh, yeah, there goes somebody around. I think that might have been the 5 of Bryce Kobler. Oh, the 8 of Jordan Byers, the Penn State car around. But, yeah, I mean, that was... That checkup, or, I mean, I guess that, the accordion effect there started from, like, the 5th row. And just kept going further and further and further back. The Penn State Barron car, little stacked up here, and I mean it's everyone bumping off each other as they try to get going. I mean, absolutely hammered the back bumper of the 55 before someone gets into the back of the 8 and turns them. I can see why there's a couple of cars with bent-in fronts.
Exactly what I was going to say, Alex. I think there's probably 8 or 9 cars that got some sort of damage. Nothing terminal, thankfully, but yeah, a lot of broken
oh man, gosh. Yeah, look at
the
that.
dents.
So I see why I initially thought the 71 may have got a piece of it. He got some damage when the 8 came up across the track, but I mean, yeah, that was just fully, I mean, that was in central right there. That was almost the entire field that got bottled up there. Which is odd because the front 4 rows got away just fine. Like, it wasn't anything that started with, like, the front. Like, it wasn't like Spencer Brown was trying to wait him out and, bottle up the entire field. He got going pretty early. It just, everything accordioned further on back.
I think one person that might have benefited from this is Spencer Brown. He's still up there, but he's still, I mean, the more laps that go, the more he can, stay out and have fresher tires and potentially just have one more run. He doesn't need to pit twice because he's staying out under these cautions and conserving fuel, tire wear, and I mean he could end up with a really good finish if all things go well for him.
That is certainly possible. And the other thing, the more laps he gets to lead here, the more confidence that gets to build, even if it's under pacing, you just get to, it's one of those things you'll go back to the old score sheet at the end of the night and it'll show that he led a number of laps here tonight, which I'm sure will be good for the confidence of the 52. But we are going to take a quick commercial break while they get this field queued up and ready to go again. You are watching the Press Subscribe 200 presented by Cure Army here on the CIL from Kansas Speedway. Don't go anywhere, folks. We are going to be right back just after this.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, McCone.
With the launch of McCone Entertainment and McCone Competizone alongside McCone Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at McConeSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at McCone Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Hello, my name's Aaron Brown from the Garage Shop in Denver, North Carolina. We're here at the famous Bonneville Speedway in Wendover, Utah. One of the most harshest environments on the planet to race in, and that's why we need the best tools Snap-on has to offer. What we use here to pump up the oil in our race engines to prime them is this Snap-on screw gun. With its variable speed and high torque, this allows us to spin our oil pumps up to 1,500 RPMs, creating 70 pounds oil pressure, which helps us get everything settled in, nice and happy, and turn the hot oil through the engine. Compact, lightweight, and able to fit in really tight spaces. It's 9 positions.
All right, folks, we are back here on CIL. Spencer Brown going to lead him to the line. John Hagan to the outside. We are racing once again at Kansas. Looks like a bit of a cleaner restart there from the front part of the group. And John Hagan going to look to wheel to the lead from the outside.
Spencer Brown is trying to get everything he can out of that car, still staying relatively up in the top 3, but slowly dropping back here as you see the rest of the pack's going to go to the outside of him.
So Hagan back to the point where we've seen him so much tonight. Daniel Nanny going to sign in the P2, and they are 3 wide deeper in the field. Schulenberger up there with Jake Cummings and Clint Halterman 3 wide into turn 1. That battle for 7th. Look at that hornet's nest. Everyone trying to get it sorted out. That is not a place I'd like to be right now if I was a driver, Brad.
You can see Spencer Brown is getting a little loose on that bottom side. The tire wear starting to show, but he's trying to just salvage as much as he can right now, possibly hoping for a caution here to save some track position. As you see 3 wide behind him and just more cars on fresher tires trying to get around him as the 5 car, Bryce Kobler, is on the outside.
Charles Wimbley in the 37 trying to find a way past, unable to do so at this moment in time. Got to imagine he's a little frustrated. He's been on a warpath to the front tonight, trying to get his way up there. The Bristol winner from last year started tonight in the 37th position. He's up to P15. He's having a great drive, also having a great drive. Landon Bellicke for Auburn started 33rd. He's up to 8th.
Man.
A great run going for him.
A lot of people on missions here at Kansas.
Yeah, Kansas known for its great journeys across the Western Plains. A lot of drivers in the back of the field on the great journey to the front of the field. And with my poor analogy out of the way, we'll jump back to the action at hand. Spencer Brown, he's just trying to stay out of the way, I think, at this point. The field's so much faster on these newer tires, and they're just flying past them.
You see, it seems like there's consistently a 3 wide battle going on behind them as they get it sorted out to 2 wide, and yet again 3 wide battle as Zach DeWale looks onto the inside of Matt Norberg, and it looks like a couple other cars. I mean, there's just so many cars back here just trying to get around Spencer Brown, but again, he's holding his own on that outside line. About all he can do is he's on the outside of Edwin and Nofre going into turn 1.
Yeah, haven't seen a ton of the 199 tonight, but it's been a decent start to the year for Edwin. Trying to get back up toward the front of the field here. He is running outside of the top 15 right now. Trying to make some work happen. A lot of really talented drivers in this little mid-pack area. Edwin Onofre, Matthew Burton, Jason Wallet, Matt Nordberg, Zach DeWell. Just a lot of big names all kind of bundled up right here. And Nordberg now going to look to the outside. Looking at this field, we got some good action happening just in front of this, as you see the 28 of Harpine get on by. Oh, big loose there for Spencer Brown. He's into the outside wall. And everyone just trying to continue to shuttle around the 52. Keeping an eye on this battle here, though. Look at this. Wembley and Aiken Lamar going at it. Side by side, the battle for 13th. They've got Ricky Paz just up ahead, Stagey and Kobler just behind them.
Wembley and Lamar seem to just stay side by side. Going into turn 3 here, I think Wembley's able to clear him a little bit. Aiken's going to try one last time, but he's on that low line. He's going to lose a little bit of momentum as you see the 5 of Bryce Kobler making his way back past on the outside, keeping that momentum up, and then Stagey's trying to give him a little push down the front stretch here.
That he is. So we're watching here up at the front of the field. Things are getting a little dicey. Miranda to the inside of Williams for third. Nanny going to try and close off the run from the Oklahoma driver, boxing him in down at the apron. Going to mess up that exit just a little bit. Nanny getting an absolute mirrorful right now at Drew Williams. And add Brandon Schulenberger and Jake Cummings to the mix. It's a 6-car battle up at the front of the field. John Hagan, though, continues to lead the way he has most of the night, in firm control of first, but with no real margin for error. Miranda settles into third here around Williams. The Oklahoma drivers have been so good at staying linked up a good bit of the night. The only person who has been able to consistently separate those two have been the 30 of Daniel Nanning. He has had a really quality run going most of the night. Curious to see what he's got in the tank here to get around the 27. The one time he was about to do so, there was a caution back in that opening stage, and he hasn't had a great look since.
Yeah, Alex, I mean, it's single file up here for the front 7. It seems like Landon Bellicky tagging on to the end of this little line. So really, it's a 7-car, tiny pack, spread out a little bit, and you know, they're using each other up a little bit here as you see Daniel Nanny and Mario Miranda going at it out of turn 2. Miranda on the inside trying to get past Nanny to get to that Oklahoma 1-2 yet again, but Nanny's trying to fend them off like always on the outside here as he give them no room going into 3. Andrew Williams and Brandon Schoenberger are loving this battle, keeping them in the battles. You see Andrew Williams has a huge run coming out of 4, has to stall it out a little bit though as Miranda didn't
he's going to look to the inside. Oh, I thought he was about to make it 3 wide there. Not to be that time for Drew Williams. Miranda, though, will clear Daniel Nanny that time by. He'll move up into P2. Nanny, though, right back to the inside of Miranda, duking it out for second. The gloves are off at this point between the 30 and the 89, and they are just going after each other. Big door between the two. Nanny did not go down the track when Miranda thought he was going to go low, and a big-time door slam between the two. Nanny holds on to second. Miranda falls back to third. Got to imagine neither driver particularly thrilled about that one. More contact. Miranda looked to the inside, had a nose barely to the corner. Nanny tried clearing. These guys are getting really chippy out there.
Man, oh man. Yeah, like you said, the gloves are off, and they're really battling for the second position. And honestly, Nanny's got a little bit of a gap now, trying to track John Hagan down. I think the battle subsided for now, but we could see this thing kick up easily in the next lap or so.
You have to wonder, did the 30 or the 89 save any tire in that exchange? Because there are still 30 laps to go, and if they need to stretch this thing on another long green flag run, that battle could have burnt out both of their tires a bit. Maybe not to an overwhelming amount, but enough to make it really tough to mount a challenge to John Hagan, who has been able to run his line rather comfortably most of this last chunk of the race. You got to wonder here, this top 7, I mean, they have broken away from the field. Landon Bellicky, the last car in this breakaway pack. They're a 2.5 clear of Jared Kaler back in 8th. And things now settling in. There's the 58 machine. And now back up to the 95 of Jake Cummings. Won the season finale last year at Kansas. His 2 wins, the season opener at Auto Club, the season finale at Kansas. Can the Converse University driver go back-to-back here at Kansas? Right now, I mean, he's had to do a lot of work to even get into this position. He's up 18 spots, currently running P6, trying to track down his former teammate Brandon Schulenberger, who's running just ahead of him.
And at this point, Alex, I think everyone's trying to make sure they can make it to the end or potentially do some strategy calls if it comes to it. But this top 7, like you said, is pulling to about 2 seconds now from Jared Kaler, who seems like he's on an island of his own, as we have a slow car on the apron, the 8 of Jordan
Byers. The Penn State Barron car, all types of all over the place right now. He seems to be really struggling with the handling of that race car. We saw he was caught up in we're hearing reports from producer Christian. He may have actually made contact with the 076. So there's Matt Nordberg, the NC State machine. Oh, Byers sideways down the straightaway. The 076 has to get into the grass to avoid. What happened here, the Jordan Byers? Oh, Scott, he got a massive piece of Zach Tallman as the 71 got loose off of 4. All things considered, a big slide, but a pretty good save for the 8 there. Obviously, even more damage to an already damaged race car. But he has kept this thing going, and we remain green with 25 laps to go from Kansas. It has been a night to forget, though, for the Penn State Barron driver. Jumping back here to the 16 machine of Lee Kane, the University of Southern Mississippi. Currently running in the 36th spot, but a little onboard camera action with the USM driver. First season that, to my understanding, that we've seen University of Southern Mississippi in the Garage Shop College Cup Series, so a big welcome to the Golden Eagles. Producer Christian, I did not say Golden Noodles. That was a big Golden Eagles to you. So that was Lee Kane, currently running around 36. Not a great night so far for the Southern Mississippi machine, but all the fenders are intact still on that 16, which is about as much as you can ask for with the way some of these races have gone this year. Is back up front. This lead pack starting to get separated a bit. Schulenberger on the back bumper of Williams, but it is now only 3 cars up at the front of the field battling for the win. The 2 Oklahoma cars of John Hagan and Mario Miranda, and sandwiched in between the 2 of them, it's Daniel Nanny for Ball State. Those 3 have been at the front of the field all night long as a big move from Schulenberger tries to take away P4 from Williams.
Williams shut down that pass on the outside, but it looks like Brandon Schulenberger is going to be able to make the inside work and slide up in front of Williams here for the 4th position as he's going to try and track down the top 3 here. They've got a pretty sizable gap, almost 2 seconds now. So really this little group of cars are going to have to try and work it out and try to make their way back up to this top 3 if they want any shot for the win at this point.
Next time by, it'll be 20 laps to go. Daniel Nanny currently running in P2, running the high side in 3 and 4. He's got Miranda to his inside, John Hagan just in front of him. These 3 cars have been the class of the field all night long. And now with 20 to go, they continue to duke it out for the win. Nanny, 2/10 off the back bumper of Hagan. Miranda, a 1/10.5 off the back bumper of Nanny.
Ooh. Got a battle for P20 here between 6 cars, including Nick Stockner, Alif, and others. As you see, it's coupled 2 wide action here, and it looks like Muhammad Alif looks to the inside of Nick Stockner. Going to try to make that move work coming out of 4 here. He's got the run, but it looks like it's a little bit of a calamity here as the 099 car is right in front of him trying to hold that position.
The Aiken Lamar trying to block 2 lanes at once here. Big slide for Stockner. He got loose, tagged by the 33 hard into the outside wall.
And he's around.
Spinning now off of turn 2. The caution is out, and he nearly drove right back into traffic.
That's a dangerous spot to be sitting, but luckily no one got caught up with Stockner in that wreck.
The 124 got big time loose running through 1 and 2. He had to get out of the throttle to try and catch it. Got tagged by the 33 of Matthew Burton, because the 33 was right behind him. He had nowhere to go. And the 124 hard into the outside wall. The 33 will slide on by. Stockner gets bounced off of by his teammate, Jake Hall. And then the 124 locks it down. So he just slid a little bit off the banking of the corner. He didn't actually accelerate into folks. He was just trying to keep that thing braked. And slid a little bit, but did a good job holding on to it.
And this group of cars behind him did a great job of avoiding him as well. He was really just stuck in the middle of the track here. As you can see, he takes a hard hit into the outside wall. Definitely going to take a bit of damage from that. But Edwin Onofre and a couple others, ooh, it looked like Stockner was trying to get out of the way, but thankfully he stopped before he even started.
So cars pulling into their pit box here. This could be the final stop of the night. The 30 had some trouble getting into his box. The 888 was right there. And Daniel Nanny going to win the race ahead of John Hagan. But Mario Miranda, I believe, going to beat the race off of, win the race off of pit road over both of them. And now the 30 actually dropping a ton of positions, letting a ton of cars go on by. There might be something wrong with the 30 here.
Got some late race drama to even add on to the caution here. Yeah, he's going
Daniel Nanny was the second car off of pit road, but he is letting a ton of cars roll on by here. Not entirely sure what has happened to the Ball State driver, but he had been by far and away John Hagan's toughest competitor to this point tonight. Looks like he's starting to get back up to speed here. Well, it'll be really interesting to see how this shuffles out then. Because now it puts the Oklahoma drivers 1-2. Drew Williams third with Jake Cummings behind him in fourth. Jared Kaler, Landon Velicky, your top 6. If Nanny is going to be marred deeper in the field. Came across the line that time in 27th.
Wonder if there's potentially a black flag or some penalty we don't know about, but unfortunately for the 30, it looks like they had the fall back in the field.
Yeah, not entirely sure what's happened there, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. But when we jump up toward the front of the field here, we'll see that it is Miranda Hagan 1-2, Drew Williams, Jake Cummings, P3, P4, Jared Kaler, Landon Velicky, Clinton Halterman, Ricky Paz, Zach DeWale, Lucas Moody, your top 10. And Brad, I guess I'll pose you this question. It has been no surprise tonight that the Oklahoma drivers have had it dialed in from the drop of the green flag. Do you see anyone behind them making a run? Or is it going to be settled between the two Sooners?
Honestly, I think that second row, Jake Cummings and Drew Williams, I mean, Jake Cummings knows how to win here, so he potentially could take the win away from Oklahoma. Drew, we've seen him up front a lot of the time, and I really think one of those two cars could potentially get around both of these guys if they're able to just formulate the right pass at the right time and ultimately not crash along the way here.
There's also some pretty big points implications with the way they run. Obviously, Miranda first in the points by 1 point over Drew Williams. Well, Miranda finds himself one position right now ahead of Drew Williams in line there on the inside. currently scored the leader, so he would get a bit of a points bump. You can see that is the points as they run right now. If the field were to end right here, this is how they would be scored. Obviously, Miranda, Williams, Hagan would be your top 3. This does not involve stage points, though, which is worth noting. Pace car peels off. The 2 Sooners lined up door to door. Green flag is in the air, and we are racing with 14 laps to go from Kansas Speedway.
The Oklahoma cars quickly single file their way out of the front row here, as you see Jake Cummings to the outside of Drew Williams, trying to get up to those top 2 and potentially steal a win from Oklahoma here. You see blast through his turn 3 and goes ultra high line here, trying to get that run down the front stretch. As you see, he's trying to make his way as he gets in the wall a little bit. It's going to hurt a little bit of his run.
Belicky back there, who's stacking up a lot of the field behind him. The 62 got a piece of the wall. They're still sorting it out 3 wide now into turn 1. Dangerous moment there for the 62. He's getting swallowed up by traffic. Sanchez, Halterman, Paz, all around him.
The 77 looks like he cleared himself a little bit off of the 19 there. The 19's going to give him a little bit of a bump through the corner there. A lot of action back here. As you see a little bit of 3 wide action behind him. Man, it's coming to 10 laps to go here, Alex. It looks like everyone's trying to get up to the front real quick.
That they are. Jake Cummings has got a nose ahead of John Hagan for second. Will he be able to complete the pass, though? It's getting really tight. Hagan into the wall. Cummings takes the spot away. He looks to the inside
big
now.
Wreck behind.
Oh, big wreck. Massive pile up down the back straightaway.
The 30
Justice
involved.
Cummings was going to try and make a move for the lead. A huge pile up. Garrett Vighton's involved, amongst others. Daniel Nanny, another car mixed up in that one. Looks like the 13 of Lucas Moody, the 98 of Jake Hall. All cars involved. The 43 of Sky Shrek. The 111 of Ethan Decatur, maybe. The 2 of Kelton Quick. I mean, just a massive pile up here. And the drivers of the 98 and the 55, not happy. There's the onboard with Garrett Vighton. You could see, very much not thrilled with the way that one shook out.
You know, I mean, the more cars you were talking about there, Alex, it just seemed like more and more like it was a big one in Kansas, which that was at least 10 cars involved in that huge wreck. A lot of good racers.
One strikes at Kansas. Not a sentence I thought we were going to say tonight, Brad.
I didn't either.
So here's a look at the replay of what happened. I mean, there's a lot of parts to this one. So the 55, contact with the 13, and they all just run out of room. Matt Burton involved as well. So this is the move that Jake Cummings made for second, and you see right as this was happening behind them, they were almost 4 wide. Bit of contact with Vighton and Moody. Moody was coming down the track. Vighton really didn't have anywhere to go with Stagey on his inside. And then the 2 of them get jostled around. Hard contact for Burton. Sky Shrek gets involved. And then the dominoes just fall from here.
Sky Shrek hard into that outside wall as well. Sawyer Mullins almost gets tagged there. Man, oh man. Ethan Decatur just makes it out of there. As you see, Daniel Nanny also gets collected, and Jake Hall sliding to the infield. Man, that Daniel Nanny was fast, and whatever happened on that last pit cycle ultimately hurt him.
Yeah, if we got one more second, Producer Christian, would love to jump on board with someone who got through it. Maybe someone like the 8 of Jordan Byers who kind of watched that one unfold. So we're on board here with the 8. And you're going to watch all of this fall apart in real time on the back straightaway. So he is way deep in the field. But then you see you come off of the corner and just everyone is sideways. Gets around the 43 and immediately cuts the other way to get under the 199 as everyone's shuffling around. Also, Jake Hall on that inside wall. I mean, there is a lot of cars torn up in that one.
And you can see, I mean, comparative to these last two races, this track much not as wide, so it's a lot more narrow. And these accidents, I mean, one car sideways takes up half of the raceway, so it's kind of hard to get around some of those when you're not on the backstretch here to, dive down to that apron.
One major implication of that wreck is that at the time of caution, the 95 of Jake Cummings for Converse University was a nose ahead of the 89 of Mario Miranda when the caution came out. So the 95 will be leading the field to green here. He will be restarting from the inside of that front row. Miranda lines up to his outside there. John Hagan lined up with Zach DeWale in row 2. Drew Williams, Jared Kaler, row 3. Charles Wimbley from 37th to 7th here on this restart. Edward Sanchez to his outside. Clint Halterman, Landon Velicki, your top 10. Tell you what, that 37 has fought his way up there all night long. Does he have a little bit more in him to try and get up there and tangle with the leaders now that he's done working his way through the entire field?
Hey, it's the right time to do it. You got 8 laps to go, and you got 6 cars in front of you if you want that win. Ultimately, this Charles Wimbley is on a mission and trying to get the best finish possible tonight.
Well, he's put himself in really good position for it. However, this one is not done yet. The pace car is about to peel off when we go green. It'll be only 7 laps to go, a 7-lap shootout to decide the Press Subscribe 200 here from Kansas Speedway. Converse University's Jake Cumming on the inside. And John Hagan and Mario Miranda going to try and track him down for the University of Oklahoma. We are racing once again. The field got a little bit stacked up in the back, but we stay green as we roll into turn 1. The Oklahoma drovers side by side. Here comes Zach DeWale.
And oh man, and for the first time, I think we've seen Oklahoma side by side here for position as Zach DeWale is pushing, I believe, the 89 of Mario Miranda down the backstretch.
So Zach DeWale tucked in the 4th here. How will the Oklahoma drivers sort this out? They've been so good when they've run single file, but now this is the end of the race. All bets are off. Who's it going to be? Miranda going to take a dive to the inside of Cummings here for the lead. Miranda in the 89, going to look to the inside, nothing going. A little bit of wall contact right on the back bumper of the 89. Here comes John Hagan to the inside. Hagan going to take a look against Cummings. The 95 planted on the high side of the racetrack. Going to try and use that momentum to get the run off, but here comes the side draft from Hagan. Miranda tried going low, blocked by his own teammate. Unbelievable stuff here. 5 laps to go. Hagan and Cummings side by side for the race win.
Man, oh man, we're getting set up for an exciting final laps here. DC Cummings is able to just power his way out of these corners using that high line. Hagan keeps going to the bottom, trying to get that nose onto the inside, get that side draft potentially down the front stretch here. As he's about door length here, you see there's a couple battles happening behind him as Jake Cummings cuts off the nose of the 27 as Mario Miranda is on the inside now.
That was a big-time self-clear by the 95. A great dive in by the 89. Big-time contact in the middle of the corner. The 89 with a dive bomb move. The 95 not having any of it, pushed him right out of the way. Hagan now, look at this. 6 cars under a blanket, 3 wide for the lead. Cummings up high, Hagan in the middle. DeWale down to the low side. Edward Sanchez in the mix as well. Where did the 26 come from? Caution's out. Caution is out with 3 laps to go, and that means we are going to go to CIL overtime.
Oh.
The 43 of Sky Shrek hard into the outside wall. Not the way she wanted her night to end. And man, if you didn't think that run there was exciting enough, we're going to have to rack him up and do it one more time to decide tonight's winner.
man.
A
I'm
tough
telling you,
break
Alex.
there for the 43.
Absolutely. That absolute full send by Mario Miranda kind of astonished me. He tried to plant himself right in front of Jake Cummings.
The speed difference there, I mean, you saw how hard he drove it into the corner and how much he washed up. It was like watching a man trying to stop a train with his bare hands. I mean, he just got run over. But here's what happened to the 43. Got loose, tried coming back up the track to get back on pace, and then just got really sideways there just in front of a couple other cars. But let's see if we can watch this battle. Oh, yeah, contact starts there with the 43 and the 98. Yeah, both of them got a little loose. The 43 drifted up and nowhere for them to go. Well,
Yeah,
folks, it's worth noting. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Brad.
I was just going to say that transition from the apron to the track and the turns is ferocious if you go too fast. So,
That it is. Well, it is going to be our one attempt at a green-white checkered finish. For anyone who is unfamiliar with what that means, we'll lay it out for you now. They will take the green flag again with 2 laps to go in the race. The goal is to run a green flag lap, the white flag lap, and then obviously hit the checkered, but with only 1 attempt at it. If the caution comes out anytime during those 2 laps, that will end the race. So once we take the green flag, the next flag that comes out between the checkered or the yellow will end the race. That much is what we want to point out here. And now you got to imagine, Brad, put yourself in the shoes here of Jake Cummings. You had to work your way through the field here, and now you're holding on to the lead by the slimmest of margins, but you've got 2 very hungry, already race winners this season on your back bumper. What is the strategy here going into turn 1?
I mean, honestly, the last restart, it was a very good restart for Jake Cummings. I think he really got himself out front, established himself, and we can see that I think Oklahoma's throwing pretty much everything and the kitchen sink at Cummings here, trying to take that lead away from him. So I think, honestly, he's just going to have to run his own race and get himself out in front, establish himself, and try to defend against this Oklahoma really 2-man tango here that's trying to take this win away and make it 3 for 3 for Oklahoma.
So here's the onboards. On your left, it is Jake Cummings for Converse University, looking for his 2nd straight victory at Kansas here in the Garage Shop College Cup Series. On the other side of your screen on the right, it is Mario Miranda, currently scored in 3rd, just behind him. Winner this season at Talladega. And queued up right there behind the 95. Miranda's teammate John Hagan to the outside of Cummings there in row 1. Your top 10 as they come to the line this time by for this green-white checkered. Jake Cummings and John Hagan are row 1. Miranda and St. Clair College's Zach DeWale, row 2. Baruch's Edward Sanchez's UNC Charlotte's Jared Kaler, row 3. Guilford's Charles Wimbley and Clemson's Drew Williams, row 4. Clint Halterman for UNC Charlotte, Auburn's Landon Bellicky, row 5. It has been a phenomenal race so far tonight from Kansas. The Press Subscribe 200 has lived up to the billing and more. A ton of green flag racing, a couple of dramatic moments. But it's all going to come down to this. Coming to the green-white checkered this time by. And since it's the green-white checkered, we will get it in now. The green-white checkered brought to you by the McCone Setup Shop, the home for setups, paint schemes, coaching, and more. Visit McCone Setup Shop today and subscribe. The green-white checkered, green flag in the air. 2 laps to go from Kansas.
Huge start by Jake Cummings here. He's getting clear of 2nd place. John Hagan here. Hagan looks to the inside of Cummings. Cummings leaving no room.
Goring each other through 1 and 2, side by side through the middle of the corner. Jake Cummings maybe a nose ahead of Hagan, but they are door to door. They continue the bounce down the back straightaway. What a move there from Hagan. He has a nose ahead, but Jake Cummings will have a run on the outside. The 27 slides up. Cummings slides to the inside. White flag in the air, presented by the McCone Setup Shop. Dooring each other some more in the 1 and 2. The Converse University machine looking for his first win of the year. Hagan looking to go 2 in a row. Side by side still, they door each other some more. Veliky sideways off the back straightaway. They are charging to the line through 3 and 4. Cummings gets a run on Hagan. He has a half a car length ahead. Can he hold it? The 27, the 95, into the wall. They're wrecking. Diving to the pylon. It is Mario Miranda stealing it at the line. And Oklahoma starts the season 3 for 3. Highway robbery from the Sooners.
Oh my gosh. I think it's also Edward Sanchez got second place, and I think our third place is Zachary DeWale at the line here after that calamity of a turn 4.
Unbelievable stuff, and you can see the frustration on Jake Cummings' face. You know how close he was to his first win of the season. He was trying to give the 27 as little room as possible, and in the end, they both ran out of room. And Mario Miranda, the benefactor, was running up near the front all day long, but I'd hesitate to call him the fastest car. But sometimes you'd rather be lucky than good here in the Garage Shop College Cup Series. And that is exactly what happened tonight for the 89. Win number 2 of the season falls into his lap maybe 200 feet from the start-finish line.
Burning it down here at Kansas, and that makes 3 for 3, Alex. I mean, Oklahoma has definitely asserted their dominance here at the beginning of season 11 here, and it's shown here as Mario Miranda parks it on the start-finish line.
All right. We are going to take a quick commercial break, folks. When we come back, the final results from tonight's Press Subscribe 200 presented by Cure Almy, and interviews with Mario Miranda, Edward Sanchez, and Zach DeWale. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, McCone.
With the launch of McCone Entertainment and McCone Competizone alongside McCone Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at McConeSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at McCone Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Hello, my name's Aaron Brown from the Garage Shop in Denver, North Carolina. We're here at the famous Bonneville Speedway in Wendover, Utah. One of the most harshest environments on the planet to race in, and that's why we need the best tools Snap-on has to offer. What we use here to pump up the oil in our race engines to prime them is this Snap-on screw gun. With its variable speed and high torque, This allows us to spin our oil pumps up to 1,500 RPMs, creating 70 pounds of oil pressure, which helps us get everything settled in, nice and happy, and turn the hot oil through the engine. Compact, lightweight, and able to fit in really tight spaces. Its 9-position clutch allows us to torque things, nuts, bolts, from 8-inch to 50-inch pounds. Small size and high performance helps us get into many places on a race car where normal tools can't. Under the dash and the engine compartment, we also use this to drill a lot of holes in very tight spots.
All right, folks, we are back after a dramatic finish here from Kansas Speedway. What a thriller we got treated to here. Mario Miranda steals it at the line. We'll talk to him in just a moment. But first, your final results from tonight's Press Subscribe 200 presented by Kiralmi. Mario Miranda gonna steal the victory at the line after John Hagan and Jake Cummings wreck off of turn 4. Edward Sanchez going to sneak on in there for a P2 finish. Zach DeWale, a much-needed point stay for him, will finish P3. Jared Kaler to, if I'm doing my math right, I think now is 3 straight fourth-place finishes. If my brain's not failing me here, that's actually really wild. Drew Williams 5th, Clinton Halterman 6th tonight. Bryce Kobler, a great run for Emory and Henry University, finishing 7th. Charles Wimbley up 29 spots to get the P8 tonight. John Hagan, after battling for the lead in that last lap, will finish 9th. Andrew Stagey, the pole sitter, finishing 10th.
Finishing 11th, Jake Cummings, as we saw coming out of turn 4, dropped down outside the top 10. Behind him, the 33 of Matthew Burton from ETSU. Behind him, Ryan Whitlock from the University of Alabama, Huntsville. Andrew Burrell from Clemson, and R. Muhammad Ali from Ball State round out your top 15. In the 16th position, we have Brandon Schollenberger from Wingate, Aiken Lamar from Howard Community College, Kelton Quick, another Ball State car, and 19th, Matthew Nordberg, and rounding out your top 20 is Edwin Onofre from the University of North Texas.
Alex Finnerty led a couple laps tonight, but he'll finish 21st for UNC Charlotte. Nick Stockner finishing 22nd. Logan Harpine 23rd for ETSU. Spencer Brown 24th for UNC Charlotte, and Jake Hall for Clemson finishing 25th. Ethan Decatur, 26th. Lucas Moody in 27th. Lee Kane for Southern Mississippi, 28th. Sawyer Mullins, 29th tonight. Jason Wallett for Drexel in 30th.
In 31st, the University of Oklahoma Sky Shrek finishes right outside top 30. Hunter Desti on 32nd from Clemson. Daniel Nanny, one of the fastest cars in the field tonight, ends up 33rd from Ball State. Jordan Byers in the 8th from Penn State Barron. And then we have Logan Smith from Auburn University, 35th. Connor Bingle from the University of Alabama, Huntsville. And Landon Velicky, after that last lap incident, ends up 37th. There was 37 cars on the lead lap, which is a very, very, very great accomplishment by the CIL here. Ricky Paz in 38th from East Carolina University. Roger Primo from Paul Smith College. And rounding out your top 40 here, Garrett Vitton from ASU.
And the last couple cars who made the show tonight, Zach Tallman finishing 41st, Zach Lindler 42nd, and Ben Neller 43rd. And that is the finishing order of tonight's field. But now it's time to talk to the race winner. Joining us here in the booth, it is Mario Miranda, 2-time race winner this season. Although, Mario, I got to tell you, coming off of turn 4, didn't think it was going to be you that we were talking to in victory lane tonight.
No, I didn't think so either. And I didn't think I was going to win this race. Like, I was a top 3, top 2 car, but John just dominated. He just, like we talked before, pre-race a little bit. John had an idea in his mind, and his idea worked. I had my own idea, and his idea was just way stronger. And that restart, I was like, John, it's all yours for the taking. If I get a run, I'm pushing you. I'm not helping Jake. I'm here for support. And they were beating a banger pretty hard, and my fingers were crossed that they didn't wreck, but they ended up wrecking. And luckily, I was able to come home with the win and keep the OU train rolling.
Yeah, it's now 3 in a row for you guys. I mean, just a dream start to the season. And you've done it in so many different ways. A super speedway win where you've had the rally late. Obviously, Auto Club, John put on quite the performance. And then tonight, I mean, it looked like it was going to be yours for the taking all night long until it looked like it might not have been with 7 laps to go. And then, things materialized the right way for you. I got to ask you, what was going through your mind there in turn 4? You see the 95 and the 27 running out of room up high. Were you thinking that like they were going to save it, or were you immediately diving to the bottom expecting them to spin it?
I thought they were gonna save it, but I was kind of just going to the bottom to cover off. I forgot who was behind me. Kind of cover off them, give them a little dirty air coming off the corner. Try to solidify third place. But a little voice in the back of my head was like maybe give them a little bit more space. You never know. And yeah, turn 4 is tricky. It doesn't in reality doesn't shrink, but in the car it feels like on corner exit the wall kind of just comes out. And I kind of just had a sneaky suspicion and. They just washed up, got into each other, and I was lucky enough to be low enough to avoid it and walk away.
And you are able to walk away the victor tonight, win 2 of the year. Going to add to that points lead a little bit as well with the race win. Drew Williams, who came into tonight 1 point behind you, finished 5th, so you'll open up that gap just a little bit. How are you feeling now about, I guess, 3/8 of the way through the regular season, knowing that not only are, you guys have continued to win each race of the regular season, but now you're starting to open up that points lead a little bit?
Yeah, I feel really good. Yeah, I'm opening the points lead. In the school standings, we're opening up that points lead, so it's really good, and it's good, really good momentum for us going into these next races. I mean, John's gonna be a little bit hurt about the way his race finished, and hopefully we're able to get his morale up and get him in a better headspace for next week. Because we want to keep this going, and we feel really good right now. Maybe just got to work on consistency, especially me. I was 2 times I was in the lead and gave it up immediately within 2 laps, and especially there, gave it to Jake right before the caution came out, and me and John had to fight our way to get past them. Sky, consistency as well. So I think that's their biggest key is consistency, but we're ended up being consistent enough at the end to gather these wins.
Alrighty, well, hey, Mario, once again this year, anyone you'd like to thank or shout out while you're up here in the CIL booth?
Yeah, I just want to thank OU Esports, everyone over there that helps us day in and day out. Thank you to Twisted Tech, who gives us amazing equipment to race on and for other people to try who've never had sim racing. Also, thank you guys to Computer Connections, Moza Raceware, MSI. They keep our program running, and they keep the iRacing program running. So, massive thank you to them and teammates and everyone who's an OU fan out there. So, thank you to all those guys.
Alrighty, well, Mario, thanks for joining us up here in the booth. Congrats on the win. I know that is not at all how you saw that one coming to you, but came to you nonetheless, and now you get to walk out of here. Multi-time winner in just 3 races. Congrats again, and I'm sure we'll get to talk to you again in the booth here real soon.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Sooners.
And that was Mario Miranda, our race winner here tonight. Big time win for the 89 machine, stealing it off the final corner. Just ahead of this man is Brad Daniels has caught up with Edward Sanchez here on pit road.
Hello.
Thank you. Hello, Edward. How you doing tonight? That was a chaotic finish, and first things first. From starting 18th here, coming to that green-white checkered. I mean, was the expectations tonight to get up to that chance for the win tonight, or was it It looks like you're pretty still in the moment here.
I'm telling you right now, man. I had my expectations tonight were just to not DQ. I had a terrible race that first round, first and second round. I got basically DQ'd in both of them. I was out of the points, and I know I gotta clean up my act. So definitely something today with a P8, I believe, in the first stage and a P2 in the final. I still don't know how to react. Of course, I just wish I was a little bit closer to Mario. I could have gone that win it and you're in it, and I could have been in the playoffs, and I could have shut down all the doubters, all the tweet deleters, the overachievers. Like I knew tonight I had a shot, and I did the best I could, and I'm just super proud.
Absolutely, Edward. And like you said, you had that consistency all night from the stage break. And one thing I wanted to know is coming into Kansas, did you have any particular keys to success here, or did you guys really just take it on a whim? Because I know that final set of laps, it was a chaotic finish, but did you have anything go right or wrong with your strategy?
Everything fell into place. You saw that I started P18 and I actually fell back to like P36 because I was saving tires. And then when the caution came out, when we went into the pits, I took 2 right side tires. That's how I restarted, I believe, in 10th. I was able to manage my way up to P5. I think if there towards the end of the stage, and then I got loose here and there. I almost wrecked out Jared Kaler. And so that was just entirely all tire saving. My strategy tonight was, I know that we had a possibility for long runs, which we did to a certain degree. After the end of the first stage, I fell back to 36. I decided I'm going to save tires. And then my left sides were really great. They were 92, 94 into that pit stop where everyone got 4 tires. I took 2. And then I got P13. And then from there, I worked on the top and the bottom. I just think that, I don't know what it was, but tonight everything clicked, and I like to just, I can't believe it. Oh my god, I never would have guessed I would have gone to top 3 this soon. I knew that my skills required in this league needed a lot of working on, especially after 2 full seasons. And tonight was just, it feels really good.
As you should, Edward. And great points haul tonight. Is there anyone you'd like to shout out before we let you get back to your room here?
All right, so I'm gonna quickly shout out. I'm gonna bring my announcer self in this. Shout out to Jake, to Brandon, and to Garrett, the Giga Chairs of CIL. Garrett was working with me saving tires, so we kind of feeded off each other. And unfortunately, I know Garrett was wrecked out, so shout out to them. Shout out to Vortex. Vortex mentioned, can never forget about those guys. We had a little tussle here at the race, but nothing that the team can't work out together. So, and the next up, shout out to y'all. Shout out to the team behind the screen. I mean, I just know how it is to be a commentator. You know, I can say that now. And I definitely know how hard it is to broadcast it. I know also the stewards. There's a lot of things going on tonight. So shout out to the stewards. Shout out to the CL. Just everyone that's working behind. And if you guys enjoyed it watching right now, the audience, hit that like button because we deserve that one on the stream. And this race was a spectacular finish. And last but not least, shout out to Baruch College. The Baruch Chevy Camaro did its job tonight. And shout out to my parents. They were watching it from the other room, and they absolutely did not think I was going to have a good finish. They're like, you always wreck out every time, every Monday. They're like, what's going to be different tonight? And it was different tonight. So, that's all I can get. And thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Absolutely, Edward. Now you go celebrate with your family, and we'll see you next week.
That was second place finisher Edward Sanchez. You could tell that runner-up finish meant a lot to him with the way his day went. Cool to see for the Baruch College driver, a great run for him. And now, last person we get to chat with tonight, the alumni winner and finishing P3 tonight, and a points day that he needed in the worst way. It is Zach DeWale for St. Clair College. Zach, welcome to the booth. I feel like it's been a minute, but it's a privilege to have you back up here with us.
Thanks, man. It's been too damn long. Yeah, I mean, it was a long race. We had a lot of speed, thankfully. I mean, the car was handling great. I don't know what I was doing right, I guess, but I just was able to keep the tires under it the whole time and just kind of cut through the field a couple times, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you started P25, and within the first 20 laps, I mean, we saw you up in the top 10, and then it wasn't too much longer before you were consistently in the top 5 most of the rest of the night. What was it like just being able to slice through the field like that?
Talking. I was waiting for my tires to go over the cliff because I know this tire model in iRacing, if you push it too far, it goes away and there's nothing left. And I was just waiting for that because I was like, there's no way I'm saving more tire than these guys. And it just never happened. It just kept going and kept handling great. So I was like, I'll just keep running the bottom. And it worked out, man.
I mean, it certainly did. And, you know, it almost netted you the win when it all came down to it. Talk to me a little bit. I mean, obviously, you were running P5 through the middle of 3 and 4, and you're watching this unfold for the win. When you saw those two starting the wreck up in 4, did you think you were going to have a shot at the win in any capacity tonight, or were you just trying to get on through and see where you ended up?
I was keeping my foot in it no matter what. Not to quote the same thing everyone's quoting all the time. I'm not lifting until I see God or a checkered flag.
It's a great quote, honestly.
Hey, it's A+ quote. Yeah, I mean, as soon as I saw them start to get together through 3 and 4, I went, damn, I wish I took the bottom of this turn. Just to keep in front of Edward. And maybe I could probably get beside Mario if I could do anything with it. That's a whole other story. But man, I knew I had the chance. As soon as they got together, I figured that was a podium if I could keep the thing going straight.
And that you did, and you did end up on the podium tonight, picked up the alumni victory while you were at it. But obviously, one more question for you here, Zach. It's been a tough start to season 11 for you. Not where you'd like to be in the point standings, but a huge points haul tonight will help start to right the ship. Got to imagine that's big for your confidence moving to Texas next week.
Oh, 100%. Dude, I was finishing, I think, 8 laps down both races, and like sub 30 was just, it's hard on the ego when it's been so long since winning, and then having a really tough start to the season. It's just it's heavy. It's kind of a kick in the pants, but it's good to get another podium and be up there and like show that I really had the speed today to fight for the win if I could have kept the car up there and not got the speeding penalty. So I think if I can clean it up and not make as many mistakes, we can hopefully get a win.
Well, you certainly showed that you had the pace tonight and nearly ended up picking up the victory while you were at it, but still a great rebound race for you and the St. Clair team. Anyone you'd like to thank or shout out, Zach, while you're up here?
Yeah, absolutely. Riley, Emily, Jordan, like always, Trent, Chloe, Andrew, all the guys at OWR for sure, and mostly Ryan Whitlock. He gave me a beautiful, beautiful car today. Excuse me. Nice green SEC machine. So very, very happy with that. And I don't know, he put something special in it, made it fast today. So hopefully it'll carry over to Texas.
Well, we'll have to see about that, but we're hoping to see some of that same pace out there next week that we saw from you tonight. It was fun to watch you make your way through the field. Zach, congrats on the podium finish, and looking forward to talking to you again real soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And that was St. Clair College's Zach DeWale back on the podium for the first time in a long while, that 100 machine. But with that, it is going to bring our coverage tonight of the Press Subscribe 200 to a close. Brad, before we get to the upcoming schedule, any final thoughts from tonight's race at Kansas?
I think there was some great racing. I mean, it's been carried over from Auto Club. I think we just saw so much happen in those final laps that I'm still shaking a little bit trying to relieve some of that action. I mean, pretty much everything that could have happened.
Yeah, that's a great way to describe tonight, honestly. We had crazy wrecks, we had daring passes, we had mind-boggling blocks, if I do say so myself, and then ultimately a race winner that, made perfect sense and yet never would have saw coming. But this has been such a blast of the opening couple of weeks, and there's so much more to come. So next week, folks, we are headed to another mile and a half. We're going to Texas Motor Speedway. Coverage starts at 8:30 p.m. Eastern there, September 23rd. You can see it on your screen. Green flag drops at 9 p.m. for race 4 of the Garage Shop College Cup Series season. Should be a fun one, no doubt about that. But before we get to the next Garage Shop College Cup Series race, we've got 2 more CIL races coming up this week. First on Wednesday, it's the 3rd race of the Formula C season at Montreal, the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, on September 18th. Coverage starting at 8:45 p.m. Eastern for race 3 of the season there. And then the day after, it is the 2nd race of the Collegiate Sports Car Challenge. It is the race at Imola, September 19th, 8:45 p.m. Coverage starts to watch those GT3 cars in action. Should be a fun one. It's the first race of their regular season. Second total. They had their clash a couple weeks ago, but this is the first true race of the season for the Collegiate Sports Car Challenge. So we should have a fun one there. And then, of course, next week, Monday, it'll be the Oval Series back in action at Texas Motor Speedway. But it's been such a blast. But after the night that it's been, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. We've had such a privilege bringing you this race tonight. It's been a ton of fun. Thank you all for tuning in. For everyone here at the CIL, for producer Christian Hill, co-commentator Brad Daniels, I've been Alex Gagnon saying thank you, good night, and we will see you next time.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, McCone.
With the launch of McCone Entertainment and McCone Competizone alongside McCone Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at McConeSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at McCone Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Hello, my name's Aaron Brown from the Garage Shop in Denver, North Carolina. We're here at the famous Bonneville Speedway in Wendover, Utah. One of the most harshest environments on the planet to race in, and that's why we need the best tools Snap-on has to offer. What we use here to pump up the oil in our race engines to prime them is this Snap-on screw gun. With its variable speed and high torque, this allows us to spin our oil pumps up to 1,500 RPMs, creating 70 pounds oil pressure, which helps us get everything settled in, nice and happy, and turn the hot oil through the engine. Compact, lightweight, and able to fit in really tight spaces. Its 9-position clutch allows us to torque things, nuts, bolts, from 8-inch to 50-inch pounds. Small size and high performance helps us get into many places on a race car where normal tools can't. Under the dash and the engine compartment, we also use this to drill a lot of holes in very tight spots.